Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Hello, and welcome to Stereo Dread.
Hey everybody, welcome to Stereo Dead. Welcome to Stereo Dread. It's me, Kenny Dreadful, aka Kenny Wise, and with me is the ever so lovely and the hardest working woman in the business,
Miss Stereo.
And you're listening to
Stereo Dread,
powered by
Dezombified.
Oh man, I am so looking forward to the show, people. Tonight we are hoping to have a very special guest drop by and say a few words. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that everything follows through as planned. But if not, hey, we're always here to chill with you, all you wonderful, lovely people. And thanks for stopping by. Let's do a quick roll call and shout out some of the people that were first here. So we have Karen Suave. Thank you, Karen, for stopping by. We also have Gothic Rose. Hey, you. We also have Asia 1994. Thanks. Sean G. Chasing the Truth. He's a new one. Thank you for stopping by, Sean G. If you guys don't know, tomorrow we're going to be speaking with Mr. Sean G over at Dark Waters channel, so look forward to that. Let's see who else is here to roll call. Hellfire. Hey, thank you, my German friend. Thank you for coming back. The Swedish Mom. How you doing, Swedish Mom? We have Anime Otome, Nikita Akami. Yes, we have a nice cast. So, Mysterio, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling okay. I am. I think we might have some new people in the chat today as well. I think we might have missed them, but I will find them later on and give them a little shout out. Or you could do that actually. But anyway, yeah, I'm really glad to see you guys all here today, and I'm also very glad to see the new guys that are here as well. Hey Hellfire, we missed you, bro. Yeah, absolutely. We do have some things in the work. We are going to be chilling in Dark Waters channel tomorrow evening. We're going to be linking that eventually in our Twitter. We did share it today. They made a really cool banner or thumbnail, I say, for us on Twitter, in addition to someone else that's also going to be joining the interview tomorrow as well. So that's going to be very interesting, and we're going to be talking about our paranormal history, how we got started,
and all that good stuff.
Yes.
So, should we let the cat out of the bag and let them know who's supposed to be stopping by, or should we just wait until that person shows up? Because I don't want to get anyone's hopes up if something falls through.
Well, that does seem to happen sometime around these parts. But, yeah, it doesn't look like our friend has joined in yet.
Okay.
But we will be waiting for him to give us the heads up on Twitter in a DM, letting us know that he'll be here. But he did say that he'll be ready in about an hour. So if you guys can tolerate us for about an hour, we will be trying to do our best to entertain you.
Yeah, why don't you address some of the comments in the chat for now?
Okay, let me just look here to see what we got. Oh yeah, Karen Sauve did mention early on in the chat that she's going between two lives, and that's just how our beautiful little community is here, you know. Supporters till the end, through and through, and we really appreciate that. We feel honored that we're actually one of those lives. I've been there too. There's been time that I wanted to watch so many different things, so I find myself going in between channels with multiple devices because I want to watch it all. They're all so good.
Of course, you want to support all our friends. So I'm going to read the chat. So Karen says, hey guys. She's going between two streams. Gothic Rose is saying hello. Let's see. Sean G is saying, hey folks. Hey. We have, what else we got in this chat? Karen says that she's okay. And she's asking Aisha how she's doing. Hellfire says that the time zones is really a problem, you know, because he's in Germany, so
yes,
that's a big hour gap.
Well, you know.
Oh, hello, username, password.
That's what I was gonna say. That's their name, username, password. That's so funny.
It is.
Very clever.
So yeah, I had a rough start. I mean, not a rough start. I woke up early today, right? I took a nice warm shower. You know, and I took care of some chores and some business, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a headache struck me, and that was at about 11, 12 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm still struggling with this freaking headache. So, but I'm gonna push through it because, you know, for that guest. So hopefully he does show up.
Yeah, absolutely, and our people deserve it. We gave them our word, and we don't like ever to push back a live or change the time, so we find ourselves often doing that sometimes, you know, but we really like to show up as often as we possibly can when it comes to a time we have set. Well. So
it looks like we might be able to get this guest on after all. So let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna be checking the Twitter in a bit to see if he's ready right now. But if he's not, it's all good. It's all good, people. You know, he did say there about an hour, but I am gonna be checking Twitter right now to see what is going on with him.
I want to give a shout out to Swamp Dweller. He's dropped in the roll call.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, dude. That is totally an honor. That is completely an honor. I'm very glad that you are here, Mr. SD. It's always cool to see the big guys come on in here. You know, you feel validated, you know?
Okay, so the cat is officially out of the bag. Swamp Dweller says, hope you guys are doing well. I'll be ready in just a few minutes. So yes, Swamp Dweller will be our guest tonight. I'm pretty sure you all know who he is, so it's gonna be awesome.
And for those who don't,
Swedish Mom says we have the echo again.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I think it has a lot to do with let me try something. You guys let me know if this works. I'm always trying new stuff when it comes to the audio, and it's usually just our mics whenever we bring in an outside call. So what I'm gonna do is that I am going to mute the main audio, and you guys let us know if you hear anything, okay?
Yeah, Swamp Dweller says that the echo is pretty bad at the moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna lower down my mic, lower down my gain.
That's not gonna do anything.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna try and get the let me just mute this for a second.
Okay.
Let's see. How does that sound, you guys? Let me know if you like that and the way that it sounds. This is our main audio that I'm using right now. But whenever there's a call, for some reason, there's always that echo with our mics. And I think it's because we're getting our mics not only from the call, but also from the main audio here in the program, in the encoding software. Okay, Hellfire says, sounds really good. Aisha gave this a thumbs up. Now, I'm going to switch from the main audio to just the call, and then you guys let us know how that sounds, because then that's a process of elimination, and it lets us know that is what the issue is. So please bear with us, loves. Okay, what about now, you guys? Is it still sounding okay?
Nikita gave us a thumbs up. Got okay. How about now?
Okay, so yeah, now you gotta turn off the monitor. Yeah, it's the call area.
She says now yes.
No, yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
give me a second.
And Amir Tome says now yes.
Well, I'm hoping that once we get into...
He said it's good again. Hellfire says it's good again. So, nice.
Well, I'm hoping that once the call comes in, they can hear him. Because that's the issue that we have
Nice.
sometimes.
Just tweeted this. Be there in 5. Awesome.
Amazing. Great.
I can't wait. You know, we have been so fortunate, you know. So far, we've been so fortunate in having some great guests come on, you know, so early on in the game for us and streaming. So we want to give thanks to everyone who has appeared on our show in the past, and as well as the future ones, like Swamp Dweller tonight. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, and everybody who's had us on also as well. Like we will be on Dark Waters, as we said before, and as well as Timey Lives. She
had us on, yeah.
Yeah, she's had us on, and she's also been very helpful to us. Hello, Being Scared. Roll call, baby.
Roll call. Being Scared is in the hizzy. Thank you for stopping by.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad. It looks like we're getting a full house slowly but surely up in here. So I'm glad about that.
Yeah, because you know something, Swamp Dweller, he deserves to have a bigger audience. So, you know, to hear him out. So I'm happy that more people have been showing up.
Yeah, that's really
good.
cool,
so
man.
Thank you for stopping by, Being Scared.
Yes, he is so. I mean, Being Scared is also a really cool character as well. You know, you guys should check him out as well. He's super duper cool.
Yes, we do love Being Scared. That's right, Aisha.
Hell yeah.
And she hit that right on the head.
That was a very neat play on word right there.
Yeah, so Being Scared said he's fantastic. Oh, Karen says hashtag we love Dezombified.
Thank you, Karen. We love you guys too. You guys are amazing. We have some of the best in our community, I'm telling you. The horror/narrator community is a really amazing community. I mean, look, the creator community, because Timey Lives, she really is not in the same genre. She's more of a promoter. She likes smaller channels and she has them on her live streams a lot of times. But the little community we have here I mean, is so supportive. We've found so much support in our community, so
Yeah,
it's really
and you know
awesome.
something? We have a strong contingent over on Twitter. This genre is very big on Twitter,
Yeah, from what I see, yeah.
so
That's
that's
another thing
great.
we've learned while being. Uh,
Thank you, Aisha. She says we rock. Thank you. But Karen says, "Damn it, it's hard going back and forth."
yeah, it is.
We get it.
It is. We get it. We've done the same thing in the
Roll
past.
call, Shark Bite 15. Hey,
Hey.
everyone.
Hi, Shark Bite.
Thank you for
Welcome,
dropping
welcome to
by.
Stereo Dread, powered by Dezombified. And in case any of you guys don't know, the reason why we call it Stereo Dread is because I'm Miss Stereo and he is,
K Dread.
yes, he is Mr. Kenny Dreadful. So we call it Stereo Dread here on Dezombified.
Yes. A little play on words. So how has your day been, people? Let us know in the chat.
I know that it's a beautiful day outside. It's been a few beautiful days, quite a few beautiful days.
Well,
up in
actually, it
here.
rained yesterday. So
It did rain. But hey, the rain is beautiful too. It can be serene and relaxing sometimes,
Mm-hmm. It can. And there's a lot of good things to do while it's raining outside. Especially if you have a loved one with you, You can play puzzles. You can
Oh, behave.
Okay, fine. Fine.
Oh, baby, come
You're
on.
always restricting me, man. You can't hold back the truth.
I always say it. He is a ham. You know what's funny, though? They're not hearing an echo anymore, but now I am.
Sean G, working on radio shows. Great coffee makes the day. Thank God it's Friday. TGIF, indeed. We love coffee. You need it twice a day.
Where would we be without coffee? Seriously. Like, coffee it's life, yo.
Some caffeinated tea. It's tea time.
That's my life force.
Mm-hmm.
For reals. No wonder people used to kill each other for tea because, that caffeine, baby.
Roll call. Stacy Gotti. Hello.
Stacy, hi, love. Welcome to Stereo Dread. Thank you for showing up.
She is so cool.
Yes, she is. She's a supporter through and through. She reminds me a lot of Creepy Clown Girl. That's what these ladies do. A lot of these ladies are hardcore supporter, and promoters of our genre. People like Karen Sov and Stacy Scotty.
Philia
También.
Noctis.
Sí. Yep. Philia. She is awesome. Bella mujer. We had her on not that long ago. She had some creepy stuff to say. If you haven't seen it, it's one of our past lives. I think 2 lives ago, Philia was on and she was saying her creepy stories, her real life creepy stories. She actually dated a murderer, a convicted murderer. So you guys can go back and see that. It was super scary stuff. Let's see. Hey.
Yes, we are here, people. We have the one and the only Swamp Dweller live on Stereo Dread. How are you, Swamp Dweller? We are now, that's for sure. How's your swamp pig doing? Exactly. So, Swamp Dweller, let's get right to it, the nitty gritty. You've been on YouTube for 2 years and you have over 122,900 subscribers. People here should know you from such videos as The Only Vietnam Story I Never Told, Dirty Scary Park Ranger and State Park Stories, as well as your Scary Deep Wilderness Story series, and maybe even the most recent, which is 10 Scary Skinwalker and Wendigo Stories. How does it feel, Swamp Dweller, to, in just 2 short years, be at the level you're at now?
It's pretty crazy actually. Just not expect it at all. I guess that's probably a cliche answer, but kind of just started as a hobby, and now here we are.
Yeah, that's the same thing with us. We started it out as a hobby, and we said if it takes us somewhere, it does, and if it doesn't, big whoop. We're just, trying to have fun and reach out to people, and that's how we keep level-headed. We've been doing this for like over 6 months, and we got a little 400 subscribers probably, but it doesn't faze us. We're just gonna keep pushing forward because it's just something we love to do. I have another question for you. So, you did a Momo video. I have a question. Was it demonetized because it was on Momo?
Hello? Uh-oh, something happened. Oh my goodness. You guys, I'm so sorry. Let's see what happened. Let's see here. I can't hear Swamp Dweller anymore. Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. We have you back.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that.
So back to the Momo video. Was it demonetized because it was about Momo? Because I heard something that if people make videos on Momo, it would be demonetized. Is that true?
Yeah, it was pretty much well, it's not technically demonetized, it's just yellow signed, but might as well be demonetized. But yeah, it was hit instantly, but luckily that was a sponsored video, so that didn't really affect me too much.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What are your inspirations, Swamp Dweller? Besides the hobby aspect of it, like what are your inspirations? Do you do original stories? Like what are your inspirations for those if you do any originals?
I do tons of originals. I have pretty much every creepypasta, I guess you could say, on my channel is original. It's collaborations with me and other authors that help me bring these things to life, because I'm not the most talented writer, but I have a lot of ideas. And most of my inspiration for those, honestly, is like M. Night Shyamalan stuff. I love like a good psychological horror story with a twist.
Nice. M. Night Shyamalan, he does very good at that, I tell you. How do you deal with haters if you have any?
Just ignore them, I guess. I don't know. I don't really, I've never really put too much like attention on the people who hate. I mean, everybody has their opinion, so I'm not really gonna focus on that. I'd rather focus on the supporters, because that's who's gonna, I feel like if you focus on hate comments and haters all the time, that's what you're gonna invite to yourself. And if you focus on the people who support you, that's who's gonna come back video after video.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I have this saying that I keep hearing from very wise people: don't feed the trolls. And if you feed them, use a poop emoji. That's what you feed them. I got that from Timey Lives, by the way. You feed them the poop emoji, so you're being cute, sweet, but you know what they're full of. Just feed them that.
Definitely good words.
So, Mr. Swamp Dweller, do you have any proteges?
You mean like somebody like I've helped kind of start?
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting. I guess so, maybe. I don't really like to take credit for anybody's success, but definitely helped out a lot of people over the years, but I couldn't say I have a protege, I guess.
Okay, that's a good diplomatic answer. By the way, hello, Bad Vibes and Vidith. Welcome to Stereo Dread. We're chilling here with Swamp Dweller, but you guys probably know that already. Okay, well, I know that we remember you clearly blew up out of the blue not that long ago. Actually, a few months, I think it was, your channel just blew up. Like, it just jumped from one number to an extreme number, and you've always been awesome. But tell us, do you remember what happened that day, where you were? How did you feel?
Yeah, when you cracked like 100,000,
Something like that, yeah. It was just crazy. It was all over Twitter, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? Good for him. He's a really hard-working dude, man.
I think everybody was just like about freaking time. Like, honestly, it was about 6 months ago where I've always had like like growth spurts where like I would jump here and there. But like about 6 months ago, I put out my first unsolved missing persons cases from state parks video, and that's now one of my most viewed videos. And that series just changed the entire channel. Almost every video is like 200,000 views or more in that series, and it's just it felt better than all the stories blowing up, because this is something that like I put a lot of emotion into, a lot of research into, and like I wrote it all myself and I researched it all myself. So the fact that something I was really scared about, I didn't think people would like it, ended up being like the most successful thing I've ever done, was that felt better than absolutely anything, I'd say.
That is amazing that, you went out and you put yourself out there. You put all this hard work into that video, not knowing whether it would be well received. And it actually was. And that must give you such a sense of gratification.
Oh yeah, it feels amazing. It's to this day, I still like every time like YouTube's like this video hit this milestone, like it's insane to think that like that ever happened, especially thinking that like I'm just like the guy that covers monsters in the woods, and I went out and did something different, and it actually works. So it feels good to see videos like that do good on a channel that's not really based around that.
So would you give that type of advice to someone who's in a specific genre, and would you say maybe go outside of your comfort zone for a video to see how it works?
Definitely. I tell people all the time that diversity, especially like it doesn't even have to like be like doing different like genres per se, but even if you're just doing stories, it's the best to always just cover like as much as you can. Like, but also I feel that you have to be smart about it. You have to focus on what your crowd wants. So if, for me, an example, like people really like when I do say cryptid stories, so I figure if I'm gonna do something different, I should do something that's kind of like that, but just a bit different. Like there used to be a bunch of deep wood stuff, and I just changed it up simply by saying deep wilderness, and boom, it's a whole new thing. And I think just being diverse and being able to cover tons of different stuff is going to bring in more people to your channel anyway. So you're going to have like a pocket of fans that like the true crime stuff. You're going to have a pocket of fans who want the stories, and et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually it all comes together and creates a very diverse and ever-growing community.
Yeah, that's amazing. Ms. Stereo, do you have a question for Mr. Swamp Dweller?
Not quite yet.
Okay, well, I do. Tell me, Swamp Dweller, how did your closest circle of friends, react, to seeing you and your success?
All my friends have been like honestly super supportive of it. I've always done similar stuff to this. Like I've never had like a really normal like job or career. I've always been like in the entertainment business. So it wasn't that much different, but I think my friends were really happy because it was something that I genuinely actually was enjoying and loving, and not something that I was eventually getting burned out on.
Well, let's see. You said you were always into entertainment, right? So
Yeah.
Can you give us a little background about that?
Well, from the ages of 13 all the way to about 20, I was in metal bands, whether it was, singing or doing guitar, bass, whatever you can imagine, or just being a fill-in for live bands on tours. I did stuff with Victory Records and Century Media Records for 3 or 4 years, where I was a tour manager and a fill-in artist, as I said. And that's just something you don't make much money in when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's very much different from what people see these days when it comes to like, the rappers and all that. When it comes to metal, there's not so much money going around, so.
But I could imagine that you had a lot of fun and, experienced a lot of new experiences that maybe even helped you out with your current career.
Definitely. I learned a lot about online marketing because back in the day, especially early days of Facebook and the late days of MySpace, it was all about, online marketing, the new wave of promoting yourself to as many people as possible. And I use those skills to this day. So it definitely was a very valuable for me.
We have Sean G chasing the truth with us, and he has a question for you, Swamp Dweller. He's asking, have you ever had a personal paranormal encounter?
Yeah, quite a few, but if I'm honest, they're so benign. They're not like super scary, but as a kid, I grew up in a little tiny place in I don't even know what town it could be. It wasn't even really a town, but right outside Maryville, Tennessee. And I lived in the middle of the woods in this cabin that was built in 1803. And we were bushwhacking behind the barn, and we actually found their graves, and they died in 1813, the people who built it. And all around all the lands is a bunch of Civil War battlegrounds, and apparently there's even some Native American grounds or something around there. And that house was just really creepy. There was always shadows and footsteps, and even a giant spider that I swear was the size of the ones in Harry Potter.
Oh, wow.
Definitely, I guess I could share this story. The craziest story from that house is me and my two brothers were home alone. To set the setting, it was the middle of the night. This house is literally in the middle of nowhere. We're 50 miles away from the nearest town, or the nearest Walmart, I should say. And there's just nobody there. We're home alone. And we hear these footsteps on the roof. We had a metal roof. And it just sounded like somebody landed on the roof and then just started stomping around. And so my room's the only room upstairs. So I go upstairs and I open my window because we can get to the roof from there. And I look out. I'm like, okay, hopefully nobody's there. I don't see anybody. So I literally climb up on the roof for whatever reason. I was 16, so I wasn't scared of anything at the time. And I climb up there and I can literally hear footsteps going around me. And I'm just like, this is not happening. So I get my brother to come up there. My brother is a big guy. He's like 6'5", 200 something pounds. He's a big dude. So he gets up there and it stops for a moment. But then suddenly we can hear footsteps the other side of the roof running straight towards us. And then they stop dead in front of us. And that was the moment that we just said F that and dipped out.
Wow. It reminds me like of that movie Krampus. You seen it?
Yeah.
And jumping on the roofs and whatnot. That is crazy. Thank you for sharing that with us. You know something, Swamp Dweller? I see that you have a Teespring store. Can you give us any advice about, you know, how to like do a Teespring store for anyone, you know, who's interested?
It's fairly simple, I'd say. They make it really easy to just, you know, throw your designs out there and to promote them, especially now that Teespring has this thing with YouTube where like they show your merch right under your videos and all that. But I'm not sure if you have to have a certain amount of subscribers for that. I think you might. I think it might be a 10,000 sub thing or whatever. I think it's kind of lame, but I would say just making, like, if you have like a design that you know is like going to appeal to like a broad audience that it's just outside of your YouTube channel. I feel like branding your shirts as your YouTube channel might hurt you because most people aren't really running around wearing a, say, like a Swamp Dweller shirt. But since I don't put the Swamp Dweller logo on it, I feel like it helps me a lot. And I think it's just more about finding your own niche of designs that appeal to your audience and a greater audience, and then just using your social media to push that as much as you can.
So you say that you have experience in marketing, right? I went over to your website. Did you design that yourself, or did you have to hire someone to do that for you?
That was my attempt at trying to make a website myself.
Oh, okay.
It looks okay, I'd say, for what it is, but I am trying to get some developers to help me make it something cooler. I do have some ideas.
Now that you are, you know, pretty established on YouTube, have you had other interviews before this one, or is this your first interview?
I've been on quite a few like radio shows and typical like podcasts and stuff. I was actually on I don't even know what his show is called anymore. I think he just goes by the Christian Whistleblower now, but I was on his show a couple weeks ago. I've been on was it Beyond Darkness Radio? I've been on all kinds of interviews. But I don't really do them often. I'm not a big fan of interviews simply because a lot of people ask the same questions and I can only say the same thing so many times. So that's kind of why I don't really do them too often.
Well, hopefully we're not giving you that vibe here.
Oh no, definitely. You guys have had some very unique questions so far.
Awesome. Great to hear it. I have another question. Sometimes people ask me, hey, what kind of equipment do you use? So I'm going to ask you that question. What kind of equipment do you use when you're doing your stories? Like, do you use a lavalier mic or a regular XLR mic? Do you use a USB mic, like the Snowball? Like, you know, like, what's your setup like?
At the moment, I'm trying to upgrade, but right now I use a XLR mic. It's the what is this thing? The Procaster from God, I can't even think of their name. Rode. I don't know why I can't think of anything right now.
Rode.
The Rode Procaster, and I have I have a 4-channel Alesis mixer that I run it through. It's pretty basic right now, but it gets the job done.
Nice. That Rode mic, something that I aspire to have one day. So good for you. We use a Behringer preamp to run our the XLR through. We have an Audio Technica ATX, I think 2035 mic. So that's what we're using here. What's your method when you decide you want to put something together? Do you have like a certain ritual that you do before you like get down to record?
Luckily I have a story editor who helps me, Sinister Dark Soul. I think he was in the chat earlier. Shout out to him.
Yes.
He helps me. Luckily, like I'll compile a bunch of stories that are sent on a topic to my email or my website, and I'll send them to him, and he'll help me fix all the mistakes and make it readable, basically. So basically, I can just sit down, go to my list of whatever I'm recording that day, and boom, it'll be a lot easier. I don't really have much of a ritual. It's just mainly a mood thing for me. Like if I don't feel up to reading or recording that day, I don't do it.
Okay, good. You know something? Have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay. Well, you kind of sound like Jesse Pinkman over there to me over the so maybe one day you could like do like a voice double for him if anything ever happens to him, because
I mean that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So who are some of your good friends here on YouTube as far as creators go? Do you have any good friends?
I generally keep to myself, but I do have a handful of good friends. Being Scared is a close friend of mine. Let's see, Darkness Prevails, good guy. Even Corpse Husband I've gotten really close with over the past few months. So a lot of really awesome people, but Bad Vibes, storytelling, great. Vidiv22 is probably one of my closest ones. Known him since I started, very great guy. I'd probably say those are my closest friends at the moment.
Have you gotten contacted by anybody like in Hollywood for anything, like anything at all?
I get like sketchy ones, but like I don't really know if they're like legit. Like they always just send these emails, and they like just the way they are formatted and like the misspellings and stuff. I'm just like, I don't know, but I would say probably not. But I have had, I guess you say, quote unquote, offers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I totally can understand when it comes to the bad grammar and things of that nature, because come on, everybody gets those emails where you got the people saying, "Oh, good sir, good madam, there is an inheritance waiting for you in Timbuktu," and stuff. But then they'll mail, "I'm sorry, you gotta excuse me, because I am talking about grammar, and my Spanish accent just comes out of nowhere and it tumbles my mouth up." So anyway, yeah, you get those weird misspellings and things used out of context and just hideously incorrect grammar, and it totally just throws you off and sets you back, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, this could be a scam. I don't know, it's potential,
Hey, Mr. Swamp Dweller, have you done, like, before you made your first 1,000 subscribers, did you used to do collabs with other...
Actually, no. I got my first 1,000 subs because I used to run a podcast on this channel called Swamp Dog Chronicles, and pretty much I just interviewed people who were researchers, like Vic Cundiff, Linda Godfrey, those kind of people. And I got my first 1,200 subs off of that. And as I said earlier, interviews they just bore me. Like I feel like after a while, after 3 seasons doing like 35 interviews, I was just so bored of asking the same questions, because there's only so much you can ask people who research things like Bigfoot and all that. Yeah. So I just got bored of it, and that's when the Swamp Dweller thing was kind of created. I was just like, I want to stay true to the Swamp Dog Chronicles thing, but at the same time, I want to create something new. And I was always sent all these stories from guests who didn't want to come on the show because they were scared of ridicule and stuff like that. But they would send me their stories, and I was like, these stories are sitting here doing nothing, so why don't I start reading them? And that's when I started narrating Dogman stories, and it's kind of how this all eventually came together.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat for you, Swamp Dweller, from the Maniacal JC. He wants to know, question for Swamps, not so much Hollywood, but maybe a Netflix show or something of that nature. Would you be interested in that someday, doing a Netflix show?
That would be awesome. That would be a dream. What my biggest inspiration narration wise is Rod Serling.
Yes,
So
of course.
I would love that. I would
It's the
be.
god.
I was honestly devastated when Jordan Peele got picked for that because I auditioned for that. I didn't get it, but
Oh wow.
I was
Wait,
devastated. I was
what?
like, no.
He auditioned. That's awesome.
They had open casting calls, so I was like, you know what? Might as well send in an audition, see what happens. But
Right.
You would have
the
been
best guy
better.
won.
You would have been better, in my opinion.
I think
I
so, but that's
agree.
just the ego.
But hey, he's a big time dude now, so
Oh, he's doing a lot for horror right now, so
Yeah, he
gotta
is.
show love to him.
definitely.
That is true.
So
That is
who are
true.
some of your favorite before you started, making content? Did you used to watch like creepypastas on YouTube before? And if so, who were some of your like inspirations, if any?
Oddly enough, I didn't really listen to him much. Like I had heard some here and there, like creepypasta. I've heard. I think the first one I heard was like Abandoned by Disney by him. And the only person I actually started listening to a little bit before I started doing it myself was King Spook and B Busta. Because those were two people that I listened to, but I can't really say they inspired me any because I'd never really like heard their stuff and was like, I'm gonna do this.
So I don't think you answered my question, or maybe you did. Have you ever collabed with anybody since you've been a creator?
Oh yeah, I've collabed with freaking everybody. It seems like at this point, I don't really like to I've never asked somebody for a collab in that's who's bigger than me. Like I've never gone to like say like Corpse Husband and be like, hey, can we collab? I've always just come to like people that I've seen that I like that I feel should have more attention. So usually I'll collab with like smaller people or people that are starting that I feel like they have a good voice and I feel like they could actually make something of themselves and I feel like they're consistent. I don't really like to I feel like I don't need to collab to make a name for myself, so I feel like when I do collab it's best for me to try to help somebody who's just starting.
That is amazing. Not too many people are so nice, you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure there's people out there that would rather work with someone at their level or bigger, but to hear you say that you're willing to help the small fries out, that's really cool of you, bro.
For sure. I just don't think collabs are all that important. Like I've done some collabs. Like I was on Let's Read the other day and
Wow.
like it's just not I'm just gonna be real, like it doesn't change my channel that much. I didn't grow like exponentially or anything. It was almost not noticeable. So in my opinion, I was just like, I don't need these kind of things for myself to be successful. And I always felt that if I just be myself and continue to do my stuff, I'll always, come out on top. And I feel that's just kind of, I guess, my way of doing things.
Do you feel that Twitter has been a big part of your growth and like social media in general?
Social media helps for sure. I definitely have always taken advantage of like Facebook groups and Twitter for sure, and Reddit time to time. So I would say that social media, if you use it correctly without looking like a spamming self-promoter, I think it works. I think when it comes to social media, it's really all about presentation. If you just go and drop your link and be like, go look this out, people probably aren't going to do that. But if you give like a descriptive description with your thing, like give people a reason to click on that video, give them some sort of interest, try to pull them in, I feel like you're gonna have a lot better chance on that.
So there's a theory that I've heard from YouTube savants, these guys on YouTube that, hey, you want to grow your channel, do this. You want to grow your channel, do that. So there's this thing that I've been hearing. They say work backwards, like do your thumbnail first, then do your title, and then work on the content. Do you subscribe to that theory?
Not really, but I feel like whatever works for you. I think just like YouTube is so unique per person. I think like every channel is completely different. Like a good example, like Being Scared, he can upload a rain video and just absolutely crush it. But if I uploaded a rain video, I would absolutely crash and burn. I think it's all about your channel, how you grew your community and what you did to grow that community. And I think it's just based on what your channel is. Like if you're more of a mainstream pop culture kind of channel that jumps from trend to trend, I feel like that may be the best way to go, since it'll be a lot easier to figure out what you're doing. But I feel like for me personally, I don't really, I mean, I kind of do that, but I always had the video ready first. Like the video is already put together. It may not be recorded, but like it's there and it's put together before I have, you know, all the thumbnail and titles. But the titles kind of come naturally with my content. So
Do you work on your own thumbnails for your channel?
yeah, I pretty much do everything myself on my channel aside from the story editing.
So you're basically a one-man army?
Yes, people said you could not be a one-man army on YouTube anymore, and I would disagree with that.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, let me rewind a little. When you said something about crashing and burning, somehow I doubt anything you do is gonna crash and burn. You're pretty much all set.
Yeah.
Unless you
got
like
loyal followers.
Yes, I think you already have a loyal following for that. Unless you just completely slack off, which I doubt you'll do anytime soon, because I think this might be your career path, so to speak. But
Do you ever see yourself retiring from this one day and pursuing another line of work for your as far as a career, or is this something you're gonna do until you're like old and gray and can't do it anymore? Or are you gonna pass it on to your children and tell them to continue with it? Like, what's the future for you and for Swamp Dweller channel?
I would like to keep it going for a long time, but with YouTube being so ever changing and never knowing how long, you know, things on the internet will be around, which I assume YouTube will probably be around for a long time, but I can't honestly say that I would be doing this till I'm old, but I definitely want to try to do it as long as I can. I'm already kind of trying to change it up. I'm trying to do more documentary stuff and move the stories more to the podcast exclusively, but that's going to be a slow process probably. But I think I'll probably do this as long as YouTube allows me to, and as long as everybody is interested in seeing what I'm doing.
Are you on SoundCloud or iTunes?
Yes, I'm not on SoundCloud, but I am on iTunes, Spotify, all the podcast providers.
Okay, the reason I ask you this is because, you know, maybe some people here aren't as familiar with you as we are. So I want to make sure that they have every avenue to you available to them, you know, so they can know where to find you and find your work.
I think the podcast is good for any size channel because it just allows you to reach a completely new fan base, and it also allows people to download your videos. Like if they don't have like YouTube Premium or YouTube Red, whatever they call it this week, they can go and just download them off of iTunes or Spotify or whatever else for free, and they don't have to have that burden of trying to pay money to do so.
wow, yeah, it's, you know what, you're right about that, because especially when you're beginning, it is very important that you are frugal with not just your time, but your money. And we're not all on a big budget, you know, especially YouTubers. All of us are just pretty much, you know, just grinding here. We're all grinding. And I totally feel, by the way, rewinding a little bit, what you said about the one-man army thing here. I totally understand how you feel. We both do, because honestly, it's two of us, and we split the work like 50-50 for real here, and it's still overwhelming. You know, I don't know, you know, your age, but we're parents, so that kicks into it as well.
Oh, definitely.
Have you experienced the quote-unquote YouTube burnout yet?
I wouldn't say I've been burnt out completely, but I have had, even actually just till recently, for the past like couple months, I was feeling a little like down, mainly just because I do almost daily content still, almost 3 years into this. So sometimes it just feels like, this again. But that's why when I said earlier, if I'm not feeling it, I try not to record. So I don't, you know, it doesn't feel like a job, you know, it doesn't feel like I'm forcing myself to do something I don't want to do. Because I feel like that's just gonna translate into the content. People are gonna hear that I'm not, you know, into this. They're gonna feel that this is just, you know, something I'm doing because it pays the bills.
Obligation, right?
Yeah, that is true. You're 100% on that. It does transmute into the mic. Like, it's like your soul. You know something? There is a saying that among certain communities, that if your spirit, okay, not if. They say that your spirit transmits onto whatever type of art form you do, whether it's photography, anything having to do with audio, such as singing. Yeah, any type of music.
Your vibes are,
They transfer.
Yeah.
You know, and we're big believers of that whatever spirit is in you at the moment, that's what's going to transfer. Whether it's fear, joy, you know.
Anger.
People are going to feel it. They're going to catch on. You know, I think that's what babies latch on to sometimes. You know how sometimes people say that babies and animals like know things about people? That's kind of like that. I think that's why.
Are you working on any apps, by the way?
What do you mean by that?
You know, like an app, like for.
Am I developing an app? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Like, are you like into app development or anything like that?
I do have an idea. I think it would be cool to have like a Swamp Dweller Netflix of sense, and that's kind of what I'm working on with the channel or the website. Excuse me.
Right.
But I think an app would be awesome, simply because like it could be a place where like I could post the archive stories so they could read them themselves, and people could also obviously hear the stories and then new stuff, and then I think it'd be cool to help other people too, because I could host other people's stories and all that on there as well.
Now, you say you never had burnout, but was there ever a point where you just wanted to just say, oh, I'm done with this, I'm quitting, I can't take it? Was there ever a point in your career here on YouTube?
Oh yeah. There was a few points where like I just got too deep. I still do it now, and I'm trying to be better with it, but I take on too many projects. Like right now I'm working on like 4 different documentaries, and it's stressing me out. So I'm just like, I need to like rein it in, because like I have all these ideas and all these ambitions. I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I try to do it all at once, and then I remember why we probably shouldn't do that. But that's pretty much where like I guess my slight burnouts come from, is where like sometimes I just get too overwhelmed, and I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because I feel like I'm gonna let down the subscribers at the end of the day, because I feel like there's a lot of people that not really depend, I guess, but look forward to these videos, and I don't want them to be lackluster, or I don't want to promise them something and then not deliver on it.
Of course, you always want to put your best foot forward, so that's understandable. Let me ask you about your banner. I noticed you have a new banner that you switched out. I was in your community tab, and you have your banner, your new avatar logo guy. You know, the Swamp Dweller creature there.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Okay, did you commission that, or did just like one of your fans said, "Hey, I got this for you, check it out"? Like, how did that work?
All the art I have on my channel is commissioned. That one I think was about almost 2 years old now. Dang, I haven't posted on the community tab in a long time now, I think about it. But yeah, I commissioned that. That's drawn by Yaman TV. He's awesome. He draws a lot of people's avatars in the community. The only one that was ever free was the original one that a fan made. And if I can find that, I'll share it with you guys. But it was basically like a paper mache art put together of a swamp dweller. So it was really, really interesting.
Nice. It's always good when you have people in the community, you know, one of your followers or fans, you know, send you something, because it means that they really care about you to go out their way.
Yeah, definitely. I love getting, I get like drawings or fan drawings, I guess you could call them, all the time. And I love sharing them on the Instagram and stuff. It's really cool to see people's takes on the Swamp Dweller, as it is a completely original idea of mine. And I think it's awesome that people have attached to it. Despite popular belief, it is not a skinwalker and it is not a Wendigo. But
oh, wow. So what is it?
It is a Seminole totem. If you look closely, the creature is completely made out of wood, and it is hollow on the inside, and the one eye is the spirit of the swamp protector.
Oh, wow.
The next documentary I have coming on the skunk ape is actually where the origins of this idea came from.
That is so neat. Like, I didn't even know that. I'm not sure like too many people here knew that, but they did. You know, that's really cool, man. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, what part of the United States are you from, Swamp Dweller? So
I am I am from the swamps of Florida.
Ah. You know, I have family out there in Miami. Sometimes they visit the swamps to go pick up some medical herbs. I'll just say that.
The good old medicine.
Yeah, they call me. I gotta go to the swamp today. I'm like, all right, be careful.
Definitely got to be careful down here. A lot of not just animals out here. A lot of interesting people. If you watch the Florida Man stuff.
I don't, but now I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, the Florida Man articles are the greatest. It's like, well, I actually saw one the other day. It was like, Florida woman beats husband to death with his own severed wiener, and I'm like, okay,
wow,
all right, only in Florida.
That is crazy bananas.
Wait.
Beats him to death with his own
Now that
wiener.
that door is open,
Oh my!
how big was it that she could beat him
Damn,
to
I know,
death?
right?
I assume pretty
must,
big.
It must have been one of those. Yeah. Okay. I don't
Dude
wanna-
had a third leg. Ew.
I'm taken aback. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, there's some crazy ones. If you Google it, I think there's a whole subreddit on Reddit dedicated to the Florida Man articles. It's just insane.
Holy
Like, it's,
crap.
I can't tell if they're real sometimes, but then like you look at them, you find actual articles, you're like, how is this real?
Wait, how is that not a series?
Is that
Like
on
a
YouTube? The
playlist
Florida
in
Man.
your- Dude,
That should be. It might be.
dude, you need to capitalize on that. You should have a playlist dedicated, like a series for your channel.
Oh, wait a minute. He's already like taking on a lot of projects.
That's
there.
true. That's
Okay.
true.
He said he needs to rein
Scary
it back.
Florida Man stories. They're coming soon.
Nice.
You heard it here first on Stereo Dread.
Hey, let me ask you this: are you only on Teespring, or do you have other shops where people could go and see your merch?
I'm just on Teespring at the moment. I actually want to go to Shopify and make them myself, but that's a whole process of getting into printing shirts and all that.
A few days ago, we had Dark Waters on, and we asked him a question. I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you have any like do's and don'ts for anyone who's interested in getting involved into creating content?
I would say the first biggest don't is don't treat it like a competition, because it's not a pissing contest. YouTube is big enough for everybody, and you don't need to sit there and try to drag each other down. The best way to grow is community, always has been. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. I didn't get here by myself at all. I had a lot of great friends who supported me and were very positive and said, hey man, don't give up, you're doing good stuff, no matter what it was. So I would say the biggest don't is don't treat it like competition. It really isn't. Like, there's more than enough room on YouTube for everybody. And I'd say the do's are just put yourself out there. Don't be scared to do something different. Don't be scared to be different from Swamp Dweller or be different from, say, Slumber Reads or anybody else. Like, do your thing, and that's what's gonna help you. Because that's all I did. I saw everybody else doing Let's Not Meet and Stalker stories. So what did I do naturally? I was like, let's do cryptid stories. Like something nobody else was doing at the time. So I feel that just be yourself and don't be scared to take chances.
Yeah, I hear you. Nobody wants to be a copycat anyway. Like, who wants to do copy paste? We want to be different. We totally don't want to be like anything else. I mean, I tell you the truth though. I mean, I can totally respect, trends. Trends are trends, and you can't argue with them because you cannot argue with numbers. So if doing certain things is good for you, hey, great, more power to you. But at the same time, being unique and being different, not only is it hard, especially here on YouTube, because you want to be trending, you want to go with the flow, but at the same time, you want to show your soul. You don't want to be like everybody else, So I totally understand what you're saying there.
Definitely, yeah. I think too many people get discouraged because they do start off doing like the classic creepypastas or the basic Let's Not Meet stuff, and they don't really see the results they expected simply because like it's just so overdone. It's so oversaturated these days. So it's really hard to stand out in this community, but it's definitely doable. I just think that being a little bit different, whether it be changing up the titles or presenting your stories different, making them more your own, putting your personality into the stories as well, I feel will just do wonders for you. It doesn't have to be like massive changes from what everybody else is doing. It can be very subtle, but those subtle changes are going to resonate in the crowd.
Have you ever felt the need to remove a video?
I actually deleted over like what was 11 million views of videos about a year ago. I probably deleted like 300 videos, but that was simply because a lot of my old videos, the quality wasn't there. The audio was just not great, and I just felt that I could do much better. And my channel just grew a lot from those early videos, and it sucks to like take away from the fans to see where you came from, but I feel like quality and overall matters. So I deleted a ton of videos, and I've had videos where like I've uploaded and I thought they were really awesome, and then like a few days later I was like, you know, I should probably take that down.
Doesn't it suck to be a perfectionist?
Yes.
It really does suck, because regardless to what you say about those videos, bruh, that's still 11 million views.
Yeah, that hurt to delete. That definitely hurts. You look at my social blade, you can see exactly when I did that too. You just see this giant dip, and it's just like it feels bad, but at the same time it had to be done. And that was also the same time where like that bot just came out and they were like demonetizing everybody for like quote unquote reused content and all that. I just got kind of scared too. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna delete all this old stuff.
Let me ask you this: so, would you give that as a piece of advice, like? You know, house cleaning, that's basically what it is, right? You're cleaning house. So would you suggest that people do that if they have content on their channel that they might feel is not, you know, to their standards, but they still release them anyway? Would you suggest, you know, cleaning those out?
I'd say that would be like a very situational thing. Like it depends on like who, I guess, what you want to present. Like if you have a bunch of old videos that you feel like are not good or don't really represent where you're going or what your channel is, then yeah, I think it's healthy to definitely shed them. I don't think it's a bad thing to shed old videos or to even shed new videos time to time. I think it definitely can be helpful. When it hurt me at first when I deleted all those videos. The back catalog is where, when you really start pulling in views, your back catalog is where it's at. So the more videos you have, the better ultimately. So when I deleted all those videos, it hurt me because my views per day dropped significantly. But I feel it ultimately helped me in the future now, because now I'm doing better than ever and the quality is better than ever, and people know that when they come to this channel, they're going to be getting a quality sound and not, you know, something that sounds like I was whispering into a can. Because when I first started, I literally whispered. So
okay, so then what you're saying is quality over quantity.
Definitely.
Okay, so any aspiring YouTubers, you heard it here first on Swamp Dweller. Always remember, quality over quantity, people. Don't be afraid to do some house cleaning on your channel. So Swamp Dweller, okay, so you have, you're working, like, what's your next project so we can have people looking out for that? What's your next video gonna be?
My next video, I actually have one coming out in about an hour. It's not any,
Nice.
it's a compilation of a bunch of cryptid stories, since unfortunately, past couple of days I've been very busy with real life stuff. But new stuff, I have some new park ranger stuff coming that's never been heard before. And I think that's ultimately what's making this channel different now is I do have the viewer submission stuff, but a lot of the new stuff, especially the popular topics, are all exclusive stories that aren't going to be found anywhere else. That's, I think that's going to be next after this one is the Park Ranger one. Like I said, I have the Raven Mocker documentary coming, Skunk Ape documentary coming, documentary about the Devil's Tree, all kinds of cool stuff coming.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. I can't wait to see those. They sound, you know, amazing titles, bro.
Yeah,
Amazing.
eye-catching,
Yeah.
for sure.
I just hope
That is
everybody
so
will enjoy
cool.
them.
Aw.
People seem to like the Bunny Up one a lot, and that's a cryptid I worked on like 6 months just researching, and with the help of TW Grimm, really going deep into Aboriginal text and having to do all kinds of translations. I had to do the same with the Ravenmocker one here with all the Cherokee words and stuff that we had to like we had a whole like text that we somehow found, and we were able to translate that. I don't think anybody else has actually done yet online, so
That
that'll
is
be really great.
exciting.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of time, but hopefully people will enjoy it as much as I did working on it.
Yo, that would be great. You know, what they say, hindsight is 2020, but in case you did you get any footage of you on field or something like that? You know, researching that topic? Like, that would be
We
interesting to see, like a little mini documentary of swamp dwelling, researching bunny up in fields, you know, like on the field research.
That would be cool. Unfortunately, the bunny up one was in Australian lore, so like I wasn't able to get to Australia. But for
Yeah.
the skunk ape one, I have a lot of footage. I had a couple interviews. I had what's his name, Dave Shealy from the Skunk Ape Research Center. I had him on, but unfortunately the video got corrupted when we imported it, and now I can't figure out how to fix it. But hopefully we can figure that out in time for the final product, which really sucks.
Are you up for one more question, Swamp Dweller,
Sure.
from the chat? So the maniacal JC has a question. He says, what is the most obscure story or spirit you've researched? We should check out Swamps. Spirit or cryptid?
Oh man.
The most obscure.
I really wish I knew the name of it. I need Nihongo Johnny here, but I did it's a Japanese one, and it's basically translates to eye butt, and it's this spirit that it's like an old man, and he'll come up to you and he'll be like do you want to see something? Do you want to see something? And then when you say sure or no, it doesn't matter. He bends over his ass, and a big eye pops out.
Wow.
And probably the weirdest one I've ever looked into, and pretty crazy.
I don't want to see anybody or anything, but thank you.
Oh my. That is
See
something.
if I can't find it. Eye butt spirit Japanese. Let's see if that helps me find anything. It's called Shirime, something like
That's
that.
hilarious.
Shirime, something like that.
And that's on your
Eyeball
channel.
butt, yeah.
And that's on your channel right now.
Yes, you can find that in
man.
on my channel. It's definitely
Nice. We
Definitely
have
good
another
laugh.
question, if you don't mind. Aisha 1994 says, "What was your scariest experience ever? Was it the one with the house with your brother and the roof? Was that your most scariest experience, or was it another? Or is there another one?"
Man, it's so hard to like categorize things because like I feel like it's different for everybody. But for me personally, the scariest thing I've ever gone through is when I can only assume heroin addict chased me in downtown Knoxville with a syringe. He chased me with a syringe, trying to literally stab me because I wouldn't give him change.
Oh my.
Oh, Johnny's here. Johnny, let these good people know about the eye butt spirit.
We have to have Johnny on one day. That'll be cool.
He would be a great guest. He has so much knowledge and information.
I bet. You know what, Swamp Dweller? We could have you here all night, you know?
Wait now.
But I know that you're kind of busy. I'm not kind of, you're very busy. If you can't be any longer on, we'd understand if you want to go. We don't want to keep you hostage, brother, but if you want to spend another few minutes, we'll kindly take that.
Oh, I've got nothing but time for you guys. I cleared my schedule for this, so
Nice.
we're good to go.
Nice. Awesome. So let's get into a question here.
Hey, you have a friend here. I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but Mr. Nehongo Johnny just popped into the chat. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. We have your very good friend Swamp Dweller on, as you know, so he's a very cool dude, man. Anyway, so that was.
I'm alright. I wouldn't say I'm
like,
cool.
Do you like watching scary movies too? Because for some reason,
I am a massive scared guy.
Because for some reason, I've asked people, who have come on this chat. Sometimes they don't like scary movies, and they're in the chat. So it's like, okay, we get it. What kind of scary movies do you like? Are you like more slasher? Do you like gore? Do you like, fantasy type of, like, what kind of scary movies do you like?
I'm a big fan of like thrillers and suspense. I'm a big fan of like the psychological stuff, like hide and seek, The Sixth Sense, The Happening, stuff like that. I'm really big into like movies that make you think and make you actually care about the characters. Like I don't really
Yes.
get too much into slashers because most time it's like, good, I wanted them dead anyway, because they're like the most unrelatable. Like it's like a bunch of teenagers and they're so unrelatable and they're such just like like douches or whatever you want to call them, and it's just like, good you died, I'm glad Jason killed you. But I
Exactly.
like movies that make you invest into it, that really make you think about it, and then like there doesn't always have to be a twist, but I'm a big fan of like M. Night Shyamalan stuff, and stuff like similar to that where it's just more of a story based movie than just jump scares and just
Yeah.
senseless violence.
I completely agree with you. Sometimes it's nice to watch the mindless violence, but mostly I like the things that make you think, open up that third eye, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know what seems to do that for me is the cult classics. Things like Toxic Avenger, which is really cheesy, but I like it. It's a cheesy horror. Things like we mentioned last night, a few of them actually. One of my all-time favorites is Night of the Demons. That's a good series of movies. I particularly like part two the best. Not to be confused with Demon Night with Billy Zane. That's something totally different. But Night of the Demons, and it's old. It's an 80s flick. Have you ever seen that one, Swamp?
No, but I'm gonna put it on my list now to check out.
Oh, if you scroll down our Twitter feed, you're gonna see the poster for it. It's pretty cool. I loved it. It does have a creep factor to it. Pretty cool atmosphere. But it's cheesy. It's funny. It's like how can I explain it? When it comes to the cheesy and the comedy, it reminds me a little bit about Freddy Krueger, in the cheesy comedy aspect of it. Of course, nobody would ever compare to Freddy, but I just mean, the jokes and stuff. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, but at the same time, it does have a creep factor to it. I hope you enjoy it. So let us know what you think.
Definitely. When it comes to cult classics, I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a really good one in my opinion.
The what? I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh yes. Well, that's a good one. Come on. That's definitely a cult classic. That is amazing. I'm wondering if they're gonna be making a redo of that. Be interesting to see, but I hope they don't mess that up because they tend to do that every time they redo something. A classic such as that. I mean, we were talking about this last night actually on our live. Is how they tend to mess things up. They did the same thing with Freddy Krueger one time. They brought in a new actor, and well, that tanked, because nobody knew him at the time, and it wasn't the same. I don't think you could replace Freddy easily. I mean, there are a few contenders if he should decide never to do that again, but you just can't replace him. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe Nick Cage may be a good stand-in for Robert, but I don't know.
I think it's a very personality-driven role. It's much like the Joker. Like I feel like there's a lot of Jokers that weren't good, but you got like Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger that really took on that persona.
You know what? I hope nobody hates me for this, but my all-time favorite Joker has got to be Jack Nicholson. I just love him. But then again, my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. So I stick to the classics, man. It's a little bit, the classics sometimes can be before our time, but doesn't mean we can't appreciate them, What do you think?
Sure. I always get a good laugh when I watch like Adam West play Batman. It so doesn't fit the part, and it's just like I just love watching him do it because it's just like it's enjoyable to me. But my favorite Batman is probably Christian Bale. I just feel like that's what I grew up seeing, and that was like the Batman I knew.
Wow, I don't know. I like all the Batmans. Well, I don't like George Clooney. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just don't like him. But love them in Ocean's 11. Don't get me wrong. But not so much as Batman. But yeah, my top two favorite Batmans have got to be Michael Keaton and the original, the very, very first one. You know, so yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm a oldies junkie. We really are. We're oldies junkies here.
Nothing wrong with loving the classics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yo, the chat is pretty active. There's a lot of okay, right here. The maniacal JC says Mark Hamill is my fave, but again, it's animated. Yeah. What do you think about the animated though? Like,
I loved it. Mark Hamill was my favorite one personally, so I loved the Batman cartoon as a kid. It was a lot of fun because it was just like a lot of dark humor, and like it really stayed true to like the dark side of Batman. I feel because like I feel like Batman's really lost that edge. He was like an edgy kind of literal dark knight. Like he was a vigilante of senses. So like I've missed that like depiction of him kind of just not technically being a good guy, but kind of being there when he's needed.
Well, I'm not the expert here when it comes to the animated superheroes. That would be Mr. Dreadful, but unfortunately he had to step out. You know, daddy duty. It happens, you know. But that sounded funny, daddy duty. But anyway, yeah, I think of myself as a cheesy comedian from now and then. But the Strangest says, and welcome, by the way, the Strangest. Haven't seen you in the chat before, but welcome to Stereo Dread. Now, he says, my Batman sparkles. Please elaborate on that. The Strangest. Oh man, sometimes you get comments and you just don't know. Oh, thank you, baby. So yeah, but totally, what do you think about that, Swamp Dweller? He says, my Batman sparkles. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I think he's talking about Batman, but that's a different story for a different day. Strangers.
Hey, we're all accepting here.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Swamp. Have you ever seen one of our videos? And if so, what do you think we're doing right, or what do you think we're doing wrong? Do you see potential in us going forward? Like, I'd like to hear it from you.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but we had to ask,
Definitely. I haven't seen too many of your videos. I watched a few last night. I watched what is the title? Why Your Kids Run, or Why You Should Run When You See These Kids,
right.
Something like that. I think it was the Black Eyed Children thing, and I really enjoyed that. I like the presentation a lot, and I also really just like your little show here, the Stereo Dread. I like the vibe of it. It reminds me of like the radio shows I would listen to as a kid. Like radio was like my dream, so like this job is technically basically that, I guess, for me. And I always wanted to be like on the radio, and like I just always loved those old school like over the AM shows, and it really reminds me of like something I would find on like Horror After Night, or After Dark, excuse me, that used to play locally where I grew up. So I think you guys have a lot of potential, though. I think you guys can definitely like go somewhere for sure with this setup you have going.
Aw, thank you. That's really sweet of you to say. And the Black Eyed Kids, yeah, that was one of our first videos. It was basically just a mini documentary of things we've heard over the years, because we really are fans of the genre here. And and it's a little cheesy. I've actually considered making a new music video for it, but I will tell you, that song at the end is performed and written completely by Dreadful over here, just so you know. And actually all our rap stuff, which is not that much, it's only 3 of them, is written and performed by him.
That's awesome.
We usually try to get like free non-copyright music, and we just go with that. stock footage, just scouring the internet. I mean, we said that last night, but anyway. But this here we're talking about you. So
Yeah. Let me ask you. So,
Yeah,
what
we
are
want
some
our
of the
guests to feel
resources?
comfortable.
What are some of the resources you use when you make your videos, like for a B-roll or anything?
I was using video blocks for a long time, but I just kind of got, I don't know. Sometimes it's like it's such a pain to try to find exactly what you're looking for. So I try to do a mix of both. I'll use stuff from like video blocks, and I'll also just film my own stuff if I have to. I would like to film my own stuff just because like it just feels better to me personally to know that like I put my personal touch on everything. But story blocks is a big help for me. I don't really use that kind of stuff for narrations anymore since, like I said earlier, this rogue bot is hitting everybody. So I kind of just make my own images and like kind of make it more of like podcast setting now. But I definitely use story blocks a lot. It's very helpful. And definitely helps you avoid a lot of those false copyright claims that people get all the time when they use something like Pixabay or Pexels.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Sometimes I have to just scour through Pixabay and Videvo and all the usual suspects, and it gets hard to try and tailor to your story. That's why we were actually considering first getting the stuff, building a picture show, if you will, and then adding the words to it and stuff. We were actually consider that. Actually, the reason why we haven't that's one of the reasons why we haven't done like just our own original content in a little while, and we've been sticking with the lives, is because we are trying to try out new things and find alternate ways of creating content. In addition to we're helping a friend out as well with his channel. He's brand new, so we're kind of working on his videos right now, so to speak. But at the same time, we also want to rebrand some things. We've considered a lot of things.
How do you feel about rebranding? Because he had the paper mache swamp dweller, and he went to this beautiful drawing. So that's a rebrand. So how do you feel about rebranding Swamp Dweller?
I'm very picky about it, but I feel like if you find something that works or you really like, that it's cool. And for me, rebranding it happens every couple of months, because the image you're seeing now is not even the current image. I need to actually update that, but this is actually the third incantation that you're seeing of the Swamp Dweller. It is slowly evolved, and as the channel grows, so does the Swamp Dweller itself. And it's continually going to grow until it hits its apex form, which is the Swamp Protector, which will hopefully maybe one day happen.
I hear you. But the idea still remains the same. Like, it's still that guy,
Yeah, it's still the Swamp Dweller.
The image changes a little bit, but the guy, he's still the same one. Like, it's still people will still recognize it. It won't change.
You see, because we don't have a character yet,
Yeah,
because we're waiting for the right image to make a character. But when I talk to my partner here about, maybe we should change the font, change the avatar profile pic or whatever, she always, we're gonna damage our image. Don't do that, So that's why I asked you how you felt, you felt about it.
I think it just, I think as long as you keep it familiar, people aren't going to be confused. I feel like if you do a drastic rebrand where you change names or you completely change what your channel is about, I feel like that's the only time you're really gonna have struggles with that. I feel like if you are creating better images or things that are more professional looking, or however people want to word it, I think that would only help you, but it's all up to you too. I know people Unit 522, a personal close friend of mine. I can't believe I didn't say that earlier. That's one of my real life best friends. I feel I feel awful now. Sorry, Unit. Oh man, but
he's pretty good too.
he's had like the same character the entire time. So I don't know if it necessarily is that important, but I think if it's familiar to your crowd, I think it works out.
As long as you keep the theme the same, I guess. It says Dezombified, and yeah, I totally understand what you're saying here.
Yeah, because our avatar has our name on it,
Yeah.
and I found a cool looking character that I wanted to throw in for the avatar, and she's giving me hell and high water about it.
Definitely. Change can be difficult. I definitely know that. It's definitely scary, especially when you're still pretty fresh on the platform. You don't want to like rock the boat too much because you don't have that like super strong, solid fan base yet.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm cool with changing, a little bit. Like, maybe even, if we have a character, well, put our logo inside the top of his head,
That would be cool.
Dezombified. I don't know. Something like that. But I'm not the artist. He is.
Definitely. I really like your guys' logo. I really like the flashing name on it. It makes it look really cool. And I like how it's like half a heart and half a brain. That's super cool.
Oh, thank you.
That was his idea. And
Yeah,
then-
before it was like a brain, and one side was like putrid, so it was like black, and then the other half was healthy, so it was like pink, pinkish. So it's like the zombified. It's like, okay, well, you were once a zombie, and now you're no longer a zombie or something. So you've been zombified. So it's like that's why we did the half brain thing. But now we got the half heart, half brain thing. Like, I wanted to first make it as the hazard symbol, the round one.
Yeah.
I wanted to put like that hazard symbol for the letter O in the zombified at first, but I was like, that's probably overdone. Like, how many people here on YouTube have that as as part of their profile pic? So I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna try to do something a little different.
Definitely. I think it stands out though. Like I've never when I see like your logo pop up, I know exactly who that is.
Aw. Oh, that's cool. That is good to hear. People actually saying, whoa, wait a minute. I'm sorry to just be a little baby, but there's a roll call.
Yes, Reaper Tells is in the house. Hello, Reaper Tells. Thank you for dropping by. We
The
have
legend.
We have Swamp. Oh, okay. So Reaper Tells. Awesome. I was gonna say we have Swamp Dweller with us, but you know him already. So
I've seen him around, very, very supportive in the community. Definitely a very, very solid person.
That's awesome. This is our first encounter with him, but thank you. Welcome to Stereo Dread.
I have to ask, because you're so monumental with so many subscribers. Like, what made you say, what, I'll go on to Zombified and talk a little bit? What made you say that? I was like, this is gonna be hit or miss, man. He's probably gonna shoot us down.
But nah, man, you guys don't have enough clout, No, it's just,
Exactly.
I think it's just me just being the same person I was when I started. I feel like I know I get this from a lot of bigger channels. They tell me I should be more exclusive and I should value my clout more or whatever they say. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel that you get what you give, and I'm no one special. I'm just a dude on YouTube. Like, we're all just people at the end of the day. Like, outside of YouTube, nobody's running up to me being like, oh my God, Swamp Dweller. I'm just another dude in the street. So that's just how I see it, and I think that's how I'll always see it. I don't think I'll ever really have much of an ego. Like, I understand that my channel has a big following and my channel is looked up to by a lot of people, and that feels good, and that's what motivates me to continue. But I don't think I'll ever use that like militantly or anything.
That's awesome. So you're really down to earth, and that's the kind of people we like here. As you can hear, our music is chill, we're laid back. Nothing is scripted with us, Swamp Dweller. Everything that we're asking you is just coming off the top of our head. We didn't
That's
script
true.
anything. The only thing that was scripted was when I wrote down the names of your most popular videos, and when I wrote down your subscriber count.
That's pretty
Because
much
I
it.
wanted to
Yeah.
make sure I didn't get that messed up. But besides that, everything else, is just unfiltered randomness.
Yeah, when it comes to the lives, definitely. Like, there's been times, I'm not even lying, that if you guys can check this out for yourself anyway, if you go look at our channel, We have gone for 5 hours here. 5 hours.
Yeah.
Seriously, it happened twice already.
Yeah, sometimes, the conversations go wacky, crazy. Sometimes the topics. But, yeah, we're not scripted, man. We're just a chill show, We're not trying to be Barbara Walters interviewing anybody. We're just trying to be like a regular dude talking to a regular other person, like we're chilling in a living room, you know what I'm saying, on a sofa or something. And we're just chilling and vibing and kicking it,
Definitely. I think that works out the best, though. It gives you the most like organic and most real sense of your guest and you guys as well.
Yeah, let me see.
Is there a question for Swamp in the chat?
Well, the maniacal JC says,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's best to stay respectful and not get cocky with it all. That's true, because it can get to somebody's head. But I think we're all grown-ups here. I think that's the reason why. You're very mature, by the way.
Yeah, you are very mature for your age, I have to say. I'm very pleased with your demeanor. It's awesome. It's refreshing. A lot of people have like unjustifiable narcissism, right? It's
Definitely.
like it's not justified. Like, okay, you might have more subs than us, but I mean, you still don't have that many subs,
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's like over 7,000 channels with 1 million subscribers on this website. I'm not one of them, so it's
Wow.
not. I'm not that. I'm a small fish in a big pond still, so
Wow.
I don't really see the need to like run around like flexing myself or anything.
Mm.
Be like,
That
oh, look
was-
at these subscribers. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so
I know,
cool.
right? Right?
Where do you think YouTube is heading? Because I see them trying to do YouTube TVs, 1 month free trial. So do you think it's gonna turn into like an Amazon Prime and like content creators are gonna be given the door?
I hope so, but at the same time, I feel that is why YouTube is losing its mystique. YouTube was the alternative to TV. It was not TV. It was everything that we didn't want to watch on TV, and now it's slowly getting watered down to what TV is. And if I wanted to watch TV, I would buy a cable package, but I don't have a cable
ding,
package.
ding. He hit the bell. That is so true. I totally agree with you. And another thing that I feel YouTube has lost. Remember the old motto, broadcast yourself? Where did that go? When did that hit the door? Because
Have you noticed
it
it's
used to
not
be
even on their
about that.
logo anymore?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And it used to be that. And now, because their TOS has changed, they know that, I always say this, don't bite the hand that feeds you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And YouTube just sat there and absorbed and absorbed and absorbed and just ate and ate and ate. Okay? And now it seems like they're biting the hand that fed them, which was content creators in the first place. You don't like this guy, you don't like what he's saying, so ban him or shadow ban him or do whatever, and or just phase out the content creators. That's what it feels. That's why a lot of people are looking for alternatives, honestly. But I think we shall see what happens.
You see how much influence YouTube creators have in actual Hollywood, because there's a movie that's titled Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's something that was like YouTube.
Yeah.
They stole that from us.
There's a ton of interesting, like, YouTubers are breaking into the mainstream more and more, and it's actually a fact that companies and brands come to YouTube influencers over the traditional promotion things now. So it's just sad to see that original content is being kind of pushed to the side. They just kind of want the typical trendy, jumping on whatever's the challenge of that week, because it's more family friendly and quote unquote advertiser friendly. But at the same time, it doesn't make any sense, because like, what's not advertiser friendly about a show that shares scary stories? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's not like, if you can host ads that are promoting gory movies, why can't you promote
The gory movie creators.
Exactly.
The gory creators, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many things that can be done with this. This can really go to a lot of different advertisers. And honestly, advertisers that you never thought would have anything to do with horror or fantasy or any type of stories that get narrated. I'm sorry, narrated. You know, there is so many interesting things that you can do. You can put so many twists. It's not even funny. It's like an endless menagerie of content that can be created.
Swamp Dweller, are you on different video hosting platforms besides YouTube? Like, I hear there's one called MeWe, something called BitChute.
Actually, MeWe is actually more like Facebook. I mean, you could post videos there, but it's more like Facebook.
So
yeah.
BitChute then, right? That's another one?
Yeah.
So are you on any other platforms other than YouTube?
I do upload some exclusive videos to Facebook. I do have a few on Vimeo, but like I just kind of got tired of dealing with their insanely stupid upload thing. I was on Daily Motion for a while as well, but like it's just like they keep making it like so difficult to upload a video. So it's just like not worth it. But ultimately, I feel like just YouTube's like kind of has a monopoly, you know? It's like the only show in town that's really worth video hosting on, and that kind of sucks. But
I don't know about that. There is a little hidden secret that's not so secret that a lot of people are not exploring, and they pretty much should. But you know, we were saying last night that we're going to start doing Twitch pretty soon. We're not going to do the same thing we do here. Over there, we're going to be playing scary video games, horror genre mostly, and we are going to do Twitch things. Now, the interesting thing about Twitch is a lot of people think that it's only for gaming, but it is not. Nope. In fact, you can actually, if you're doing a live, all you have to do is use an encoder program like Streamlabs, which is what we're using now anyway, and just, you know, play some of your content there, or a little sneak peek of your content and redirect them to your YouTube channel, or play it however you want.
The only real problem with Twitch is it's a lot worse than YouTube when it comes to terms of service. I've banned from Twitch for no reason.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that's I don't. Twitch is awesome. Like, it really is cool, but like they're even more Naziist than YouTube is, to be honest. But it's their platform. But it's valuable. I do think it's valuable for you to be everywhere you can. You know,
True.
Definitely would use that to your advantage. D Live is a new one that's really good. But
I keep hearing about that.
I just can't call them video hosting sites because it's more about live content. I know Twitch is slowly implementing where you can upload videos, so hopefully that will be a competitor to YouTube. But I just feel with how Twitch is set up and what Twitch is based around, I don't really know if it's an actual competitor or not. But I heard Netflix is working on content creation as well from people like us. So that would be, I think that might be the best bet we have at a real like video host competitor to YouTube, because Netflix definitely can afford it, but we'll see, I guess, how that goes. Because YouTube is just it's so expensive to host a site like this. Like that's why things like VidMe and all these sites kind of crash and burn so quickly. Because like it's not profitable. Like Google never makes a profit off of YouTube. So I feel like that's ultimately why we haven't seen somebody really rise to the occasion and try to take YouTube on head on.
I see. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, BitChute is something. It is a force because it's peer-to-peer mainly. It's not funded by any third entity. It's funded by the people, mostly the people who view it and the people who are on it. And there's a lot of donations and things like that, cryptocurrency going into that. I feel that they're the ones that have held the strongest.
Until Google buys them out for like $2 billion.
If
I feel like that's how it goes, you know? It's like you get like these strong competitors and then Google's like, oh, we're just gonna stop that real quick.
Yeah, take this $2 billion check and it's ours now.
And then the thing is also, you guys have to remember, I mean, I hope that doesn't happen. I can't say that I see it going either way, you know, but one thing that is notable is that BitChute is not just a competitor. It is also, it's a movement, you know, it's very political. So therefore, they have a point to prove. Let's just hope that they don't kidnap somebody's baby and try to get them that way, you know?
I feel like
Sign the dotted line.
I feel like when it comes to like YouTube, we shouldn't like look at it as like somebody coming up as a competitor. We should look at somebody coming as an alternative. Like not trying to compete with YouTube, but an alternative to YouTube, like YouTube was to cable. Like make something that's different, that will draw people, and in due time, if it is something that is really appealing and an alternative to where you can actually do a lot more, say freedom of speech and all this other stuff, since YouTube just implemented, I think today actually, a new hate speech thing. It's ridiculous what they call hate speech, but I could literally be like, you're dumb, deleted, get off YouTube. I'm like, okay. So but I think if we had like, if BitChute were to be that alternative, like, and be that place to where we could actually create content for the people that want it without being censored so much, I feel like that would make it super successful at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this: when you first got your first 1,000 subscribers, I don't know how the YouTube policies were back then for monetization. Were you automatically approved when you went for monetization, or was you like struck down and then you had to argue with them and whatnot? How did that go?
Luckily, I was grandfathered in. I started YouTube at a time where they didn't even have that. There was at a time where everybody could monetize. All you had to do was make a YouTube channel. They stopped doing that February something of last year, of 2018. That's when they implemented the new creator program. So I got extremely lucky, and I would say this, it's not the same. It was way more lucrative back then, for sure. Like I remember my first video that ever did big numbers, well, to me anyway, was like 13,000 views on a Bigfoot video. And that made like ridiculous money compared to what something with 250,000 views makes now. So like I feel like it was much more lucrative back then, but I feel like YouTube kind of screwed themselves by just letting anybody monetize, because then we had all those ISIS videos that were monetized and all those, beheading videos and stuff that shouldn't be monetized. And that's kind of where the whole adpocalypse thing kind of came from, is because of their carelessness. But at the same time, I think they make it too hard for people. Like, I think the 1,000 subs thing is whatever, 4,000 watch minutes, fine. But like the fact that they deny people without actually reviewing their channel so often is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Nefarious TV is a good friend of ours, and he was on Twitter, and he's waiting for monetization.
It's so weird too, because he was denied an AdSense account, not even from YouTube. And I've never ever seen anybody denied an AdSense account, and I'm just really confused on that. I don't understand what that situation is. We're trying to figure it out. We were talking about it yesterday.
Let me try and say this to you as diplomatically and as sterile as I possibly can. I think I may know why that is, and I'll put it to you like this, and I'm not saying yay or nay, I'm not saying anybody in specific, but I have this little gut feeling, okay, that, I'm sorry, and by the way, hi Colorado Martini, so glad to see you here, but back to what I was saying, I have heard rumors, and I have also, I have this gut feeling that it may be a case where sometimes, okay, so your channel is pretty non-offensive. Cool, that's fine. But you left a like or a comment on a channel that we don't like. So take that and roll with it. Take it as you will. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's just my gut feeling.
I definitely agree. I do think that they definitely pick and choose. I don't think it's as random as some people think it might be. Because like sometimes it just seems like, okay, there's like 50 other channels that do the same thing and they're fine, but somebody who might be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess out loud about their opinions or their views. I think YouTube is definitely like, I don't know about that. I just still think it's really weird because he was denied an AdSense account. I've just never heard of that. So I was just like, that's crazy. That's scary to me though, because like if they're just gonna straight up deny you through the third party vendor, it seems scary to me. I don't know.
So you have
Very aware.
you have sponsors, correct? You have sponsors.
Yeah, I work with sponsors time to time.
Okay. How many sponsors have you had thus far? Do you know the number?
Probably like between 5 or 6. I kind of work with the same people. I like to build relationships when I do things like that. So like Amino is my main one. I've been working with Amino since I pretty much started, and a handful of others like Shutter and Crypt TV and cool stuff like that. I've done a lot of cool sponsors with, and I don't really like to do that too much because I feel like if it's not really pertaining to the channel, or if it's not going to be something that I know that the viewers want to see or would be interested in seeing, I don't want to just like shove like, hey, buy this, or hey, check this out. Like I want it to be kind of relevant, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You don't want to be a scary story channel and have to be peddling feminine hygiene products, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. You don't want to do that. Unless it has like a cryptid on the box.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, a female cryptid.
Oh my God! Wait, we might get banned for talking
come on,
about
don't
that.
start. Don't bring that word up here. That's the dirtiest word you could say.
They
The
might
B
not
word.
like that.
You gotta stop. Don't say that on our stream. It's gonna alert the bots. Relax.
They're gonna come for you. They're gonna find you.
Yeah, they said the B word. You know.
I think it's insane that we have to censor ourselves from even cussing now. Like I can't even drop an F-bomb in a story anymore without like advertisers just completely being removed from the video. It's like, I don't know. It's just like slowly turning into cable, as we said earlier. And it's just like so depressing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make up your own curse words soon, like crunchy biscuits.
She's a Wisnigar.
She's a crunch.
You're such a banana peel. Oh my God. You know?
Oh man.
Well, that's what Discord is for. You
Yeah.
know?
Are you on Discord? Thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
I do have a Discord account, but I just rarely use it. Like I had a Discord community for a while, but if I'm honest, it was so toxic. Like the drama on Discord is insane. I'm like, I'm too old for this. Like I'm only 23, but I'm like, I'm not in high school. I don't have time for he said, she said, you know, oh, this guy said this about you, Swamp. Like I don't really care what that guy said about me. So it's just like, it was just too much of that drama.
That's why you have to have a panel. You have to have. That's why we haven't actually gone on Discord yet officially. I mean, we're on Discord, you know, and we are. We have joined a few servers, but we haven't officially opened ours up yet. And it's because we want to try and get the right format for it, you know? Like, I was considering actually having just a few select people to be actually able to talk, to have some actual verbal freedom, and then just have everybody else just in the chats, you know?
Colorado Martini says one of his best paranormal videos was about a school bus crash that happened 58 years ago. Making good money, they demonetized it. He was pissed. There was nothing wrong with it.
I bet.
How it be. It's how it is on YouTube. So like an example, like the Momo video, which was literally didn't show anything that was against terms of service and was just me explaining what the whole phenomena was, like was demonetized. But like I'll have videos like the Vietnam one that's super gory, goes in depth and explains detail about, you know, people being ripped apart and blood flying and all that kind of stuff, but that's fine. So I'm just like, I don't understand where, like, what the issue is.
It
Like,
makes
I don't
you
know.
wonder. You
Definitely.
see, they could say we're wearing certain type of shiny little hats here, but it makes you wonder. Like, it really makes you think, like, You know, it's just like one of those things that make you go, Nihongo Johnny says he talked about how Momo wasn't real and don't try to call her, and it's still demonetized. You see what I'm saying? You can't even mention it. Holy crap, we may get an issue with this video, with this live, actually just talking about it. Let's talk about that one that shall not be named.
Yeah, I literally changed the name of that video and like just put it as like the story behind a creepy urban legend online, and like it's still like it was monetized for a couple of days again, and then like now it's not again. I don't understand, but YouTube is so bipolar. It's just I've given up trying to understand it.
It is, but the algorithm also picks up inside of the video. It picks up the words.
Yeah.
So the bots will pick it up. Just you saying that name. You know. Oh man, we probably should prepare to fight them on this one. I don't know. But you know what? One good thing is that they do offer how do you call it? They do offer a way that you can go into your videos, including your lives, and just cut out little segments. So you can actually do that. So if I have to cut out that name multiple times, I guess that's what I'll do. And by the way, hello, Dame Saturday. Welcome to Stereo Dread. Thank you for showing up. Now, yeah, so back to this. Yeah, there are workarounds that can be done. Changing the title is a smart way. One thing I also like to do if it's really, really bad is just go back. Like recently we had a real issue with one video and it wasn't even a video, it was a live, and we had somebody on and he was talking about his family's history with Santeria. For those who don't know, Santeria is a religion which is a mix of Catholicism and African voodoo. So a lot of Latino peoples are involved with it. He was Puerto Rican, and so
the video had a lot of sound problems.
Oh my God, we had so many issues.
It was an issue. Uploading it took like hours. It was just ridiculous.
Dude, we had to look what I had to do with that video. I had to sit there, download it. Okay, after downloading it, because it was a big chunk of audio missing. After downloading it, I had to edit it in our editing software, and that was hell. That took about 2 days. Rendering took overnight. Okay. Oh, Bye Reaper tells, he said he has to go, but thank you for showing up to Stereo Dread. So basically, it was hell to render that video. It took about 24 hours just to render it. Okay. After rendering it, it took 8 hours to upload it back to YouTube, and there was a big chunk of it missing because I had to edit it, and it was a live that we originally did on YouTube. So it took about 8 hours to render. To upload. And then after uploading it, there was still a problem with it, and it wasn't visible. It didn't show up. And then after 24 hours later, after finally uploading it went live, but it didn't premiere. It was supposed to premiere. It didn't premiere. It just, went live. That's it. It was, oh my gosh, that was the worst. I gotta say, up there with the top 3 of the worst that I've ever had with uploading something to YouTube.
Something that I was told by a YouTube rep, I'm not sure like how true it is, but he says the bots only actually detect the first 45 seconds of the video. So if you keep like the first 1/3 of your video clean, normally you should be fine. But I'm not sure how actually true that is.
Yeah, knowing them, I don't know.
Well, Aisha 1994 says that Nightmare Files uploaded a video a while ago. It got removed for being graphic. Then he re-uploaded it again and it got removed again.
Yeah, who knows? Like, what was that? Like, need a little more information, I guess, to comment on that.
Colorado Martini says that Panicked Paranormal did one on Apollo 11 of all things, and it got demonetized. Why? Because controversial issues, cause some don't believe we landed on the moon.
Actually, YouTube recently updated their terms of service again, as they do every other day. And they actually said that they will now be demonetizing, removing, and no longer pushing conspiracy content. So if anything is related to conspiracies, whether like Apollo 11 or anything like that, moon landings, it will no longer be monetized and or pushed.
I wonder if that also goes for satire. Like, for example, um, like a story, like
Yeah.
Little Red Riding Hood or a fairy tale. If you present it in the form of a fairy tale or an actual story, I wonder if that will also trigger something. Be interesting to explore that someday.
So I guess
Maybe.
I get where they're coming from on that. Like, you don't want to spread misinformation, but like, I feel like technically conspiracies aren't misinformation, right? It's just ideas, it's thoughts, right? It's freedom of speech, freedom of thought,
You
right?
know
So I don't really,
something?
I don't really know.
It's odd that you should say that because look, I make it no secret. I'm a Latino woman and of color. And if it was somebody like, for example, Hitler, had a YouTube channel today and he was talking smack about me or my race, yeah, I'd be mad. But I don't care. Because once they take his speech, mine's next. That's just the way I feel about it. But hey, to each his own.
I 100% agree, yeah. Because like, I feel like it's the same. Like when I say like we should all be a community, it's not like a competition. Is that like it's like when they started demonetizing, they started with those. They really started with the commentary and gaming channels, and then we were like, okay, whatever, we don't do that. But then they started coming after the political channels, and now they're slowly coming after horror channels. I'm like, we need to stand together for everybody, because what happens when there's nobody left to say anything, there's nobody left to help you. So if we sit here and let it happen and don't say anything and don't try to help because it's not affecting us at the moment, is when they come for us, there's going to be nobody to say anything at all.
And it will. Eventually it'll catch up. And those that were saying, no, well, we want PC, they'll learn the hard way. Too late,
Dame
but they'll learn.
Saturday. So Dame Saturday compares YouTube to a drunk and abusive stepdad. Seriously, it is nice in public, but has something off about it while drunk.
Honestly, that's the most true thing I've ever heard. That probably hit a few feelings.
Aisha says, and it's also bipolar.
Ain't that the truth?
Kind of like the weather here in New England is very bipolar.
Sean G says, DW's channel is demonetized totally. It will get worse.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter. Welcome back, by the way, Sean. I don't care what you say. Honestly, I really don't care. I have come to a point where nothing offends me, and and the reason for that is because everybody's offended for me. So I'm not gonna be offended anymore, because hey, if you're doing it for me, why the hell would I even care? I'm not gonna waste my energy on that. I'm way too lazy anyway. It says on Hongo Johnny says, where in New England are you?
Well, we're in Massachusetts. We're about 15 minutes from the New Hampshire border, and about 40 minutes from Boston. We're originally from New York City, Harlem. But we relocated here to raise the little ones, because you really don't want to be raising no kids in Harlem. We were raised in Harlem. We got out, thankfully, luckily. So yeah, that's where we are, Mr. Johnny.
Yep.
I believe Johnny himself is from Connecticut.
Oh, nice.
A nice part of New England.
I have some family up in Connecticut. I used to visit a place called Farmington, and there was this house on top of the hill that used to look just like the one from A Haunting in Connecticut. And when that movie came out, I was convinced it was that house. But it wasn't. But it looks exactly the same, and they would always tell ghost stories about it, the house on top of the hill.
So, welcome, Benny Long. Hi, friend. We've missed you. How are you?
Dame Saturday says, whatever happens to just ignoring content and not caring anymore? What is offensive can be interpreted in so many different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's the same thing that happened in television. Think about it. It's happening all over again. Because history just always repeats itself, especially when you don't learn from it. Like, take TV, for example. A lot of people are not watching regular TV anymore. Why is that? Because they started all this drama. What can be said? What cannot be said? And then you started noticing how they let in the most inappropriate things on television, but then they started outlawing certain things that we don't like them, so we're gonna just ban you. And now look, it's happening in YouTube again. It's like, what is that saying? Poop. It's like snow. It rolls downhill and it gets bigger.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Gothic Rose says she hates TV. Yeah. I'm like, I'm at a point where I don't even want to watch any more new TV shows, honestly. The only reason, honestly, why I joined Dread in watching new TV shows is because, you know, when it comes to the horror, sci-fi genre, we kind of have to talk about it a little. So that's only why. Where do you go? You still there, Swamp?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Just listening.
On the screen.
Yeah.
So he's here.
Yeah, I hope I didn't bore you.
Yeah, but there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens on TV shows, and nobody's freaking banning them. Like,
well, I mean, they
American
can cut on
Gods,
TV.
there was this one scene, I don't know if you ever seen that show, where the African American lady was in bed with some guy, and then she just absorbed him into her private place.
Well, that was sick.
Okay.
That was sick.
That's crazy.
Anybody here watch American Gods? Sorry about that, Swamp. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, they can do stuff like that on TV, and like they can swear on TV, but we can't on YouTube. Seems interesting.
That's because aren't they like FCC or something like that? Do you think that they are? I don't even know this, and we should know this. Does the FCC oversee YouTube?
I have
Does
no
anybody
idea.
know that?
Is YouTube? I was actually gonna ask that. Is YouTube regulated? Because I feel like that might be what's happening right now. Because that would explain a lot if that is. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. Like, if,
Sean G says he likes watching old vintage TV game shows. They just did a remake of an old vintage TV show, John, called Press Your Luck. I'm wondering if you're watching that, because they just remade that show.
I'm so
Karen
sorry
says
about
that she does not watch TV because it's boring. Johnny says he's DMing me pictures of cats. That's why he's crying. Okay, everybody's a fan of cats. I mean, we have two. Do you have pets, Swamp Dweller, besides the swamp pig?
Yes, I have 4 guinea pigs, or the swamp pigs as we call them, and I have a new puppy, which is, I guess, my child at this point, because it feels like one sometimes.
Oh wow. Yeah, but I just got an ugly reminder that we have cats. I smell
The
them.
litter.
Oh damn.
Yeah, cats. So that's why cats were made to be so cute and sweet looking, because they have too many things with them, man. If they were horrendous looking creatures, nobody would want them as pets, because come on, they scratch your furniture, they leave hairballs on the floor, their litter is something else. Freaking hairs everywhere. You know?
They're very inconvenient pets, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
You gotta
they're very
really love
demanding.
them.
Yeah, they are demanding.
Oh, they are demanding. You know something? That cute meow that your cat does, that you think that they're just saying, look at me, I'm cute. That's not what they're saying. You know that? Did you know that cats, when they meow, they're just demanding something from you? And they're telling you no.
Because they don't meow to each other.
No, they don't.
They meow only to the humans.
Yeah. Like, in other words, look at me, pay me attention, do this for me, do for that. I demand you do this for me now. That's really what they're saying.
After having cats for 4 years now, I know what each meow means. If I hear a meow coming by the litter box, that means it's full and they need me to clean it. If I hear a meow coming from the kitchen, that means they want a snack. If I hear a meow while I'm sitting on the sofa, that means they want to cuddle up with me. So I'm starting to learn their language.
Oh yeah, while I'm cooking, if I feel them brush up against my leg and they're purring, it means
They want something.
they want some hamburger.
But guinea pigs also are very vocal. I'm pretty sure Swamp Dweller could attest to that. And they do have different sounds for different
Oh
things.
yeah. Oh man, if they hear a bag rustle in the slightest, you can just hear them screeching pretty much. They're like, snack, give it to us. And it's like, calm down guys, this is for me. They are a handful for sure. Like, if they even like remotely hear you rustling in the kitchen, it's all over.
Oh man, that's hilarious. We used to have 2 guinea pigs, 2 girls, Mocha and Bella. We had to we had to let them go because the cats were desperately trying to get in the cage. And guess what, guys? They know how to open the fridge now too.
Yes,
by the way,
they
the
open.
cats know how to open the fridge. So
They're evolving.
Oh yeah, one of them. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm not even lying to you, Tiger. He hears me go to the bathroom and he has this need to come in the bathroom and give me a high five. I'm not lying. I swear. I didn't teach him that either.
And if you don't let him in, he'll turn off the light.
Yeah, because our light switch is outside of our bathroom.
Yeah, it's outside.
And he'll climb on top of the kitty litter. We have one of those litter boxes that have a dome on the top.
Yeah, that you roll it to clean it.
Yeah, and he'll climb on there and turn the bathroom light off. And then how you gonna wipe your butt if you can't see, where to grab the tissue?
It's frustrating, especially if you're in the shower and it's nighttime and he wants to come in. All of a sudden the light goes out. You're in the shower, soaped up. You can't see. It's like, you little son of a gun. I'm gonna get you. But you know something, Sean, all right, he said that he has enough paranormal things. He says he stays away from paranormal videos. He has enough paranormal things happening in his house and sent to him by friends and show followers. So I'm sorry to hear that you have paranormal things happening in your house, but maybe, we could talk about that together tomorrow.
Someday?
No, tomorrow. We're going to be talking
that's
with him
true.
tomorrow on Dark Waters channel. We're going to be interviewed at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central time tomorrow on Dark Waters. So
Okay.
the tables will be turned tomorrow, my dear.
Ooh.
Be there or be square.
Indeed.
But no, yeah, absolutely. A lot of times, for us it's the opposite. We've had very paranormal lives since we were very, very young, small children, all the way back into infancy. I'm not even kidding you. And when that actually prompted us, one of the things that prompted us to start this channel was that is our experiences.
Yeah, the maniacal JC says Dezombified. On that note, do you guys have anything paranormal you've experienced? Well, I'm just gonna put it out there, people. My birth was paranormal, I think, because here's the rundown. I'm just gonna lay my cards on the table, okay? Unfiltered, uncensored, I don't care. My mom and my dad had 3 kids, right? After the 3rd kid, there was like, okay, it's time for no more kids. We need to shut this baby factory down. So my mom went and, got the procedure to have no more kids.
Yeah, she had a tube ligation done.
Yes, a tube ligation. And, things went fine for 3 years, with my parents. No babies. But then in year 3, 3 years later, which 3 is a magic number anyway, she came out pregnant with me. You understand? And that wasn't supposed to happen. So I think within itself, my birth is a paranormal experience, and things have just gotten crazy and wackier ever since. When she left my pops, when my pops and her separated, it took her aback, and she got into heavy drinking and dealing with people she shouldn't have dealt with. And one of those people was a Santeria witch practitioner, okay? And one day, I think I was set up because I was about 7 years old, and my mom went with her and left me in charge of her 2 younger nephews, okay? So there was like 6 and 5, and I'm over here 7 or 8, and I'm have to watch these kids. And all I know is how my mom treated me, which is if I didn't eat all my food, I would get a beating until I ate all my food. So they were hungry. I offered them some food. They didn't want what I had. So I just did what she would do. Oh, well, if you're not going to finish this plate of food, you're going to get a spanking. I didn't know any better. I was 7 or 8 years old. But when that lady came back to pick up her nephews, they were crying to her, oh, he hit me, and this. And I saw that look on her face, and I swear to you, I think that she put some freaking voodoo curse on me, because ever since then, crazy things have been happening to me. As a little child, like, I know you didn't hear the story, Swamp Dweller, but I was playing by the river, at low tide, and something took over my body and walked me into the river until I was completely submerged. Another time, and I saw an apparition under the water while I was, moments away from drowning and dying. I was walking one day from school, and a knife came out of nowhere and landed right in front of my feet. Literally, like if I would have took an extra step, that knife would have just probably lodged into my skull. Like a lot of weird things happened ever since that day that I took care of those kids for that freaking Santeria practitioner, and they just kept on coming. So
yeah, a lot of things have happened to me as well. I mean, like we said before, we grew up in Harlem, and it's a melting pot within the New York melting pot, so to speak. And I had seen just a lot of stuff growing up. Like I've had instances of sleep paralysis that were pretty much unexplainable, because that I'm aware, sleep paralysis only happens after you have fallen asleep. Well, with me, I wasn't asleep yet for that to happen, so it was kind of weird, I mean, a lot of weird things happened to me. I mean, even one time I was living in the South Bronx at one point, about a couple of years before moving to New England, and the area that I was in was so toxic and so full of just bad vibes, seriously, that you can actually feel it as soon as you enter the area. You could feel that. Like even like I would be cooking or even bathing, and I would feel like something was watching me, and something was right there, right behind me. And it was just, I never felt alone. Of course, I had the church come in and, do a blessing service and whatever, and it all stopped. But I know that bad things happened there after I moved out a couple of years later. So it's just a lot of weird stuff.
Remember the time that you had put $100 inside of the Bible, and it went missing, completely gone?
Oh yeah, just completely. Listen to what I'm gonna tell you now. We've been together for a long time, okay? And we had really little babies, like little babies, and stuff would just disappear, like it went into the void in the floor, and I would find stuff later on. Like I found it eventually, but it was not where I left it. I left it right inside the Bible. That's where I would used to hide my money. And it was gone. It was just gone. And I found it actually shortly before I moved out, actually packing. Found it elsewhere, somewhere that it should not have been. I found it in one of the DVD cases, which I would never put money in a DVD case. Like, why the hell would I do that? I just didn't. It was just weird. And in a closet, really deep, like somebody had to dig in.
But
and it was just weird.
I never found my pack of cigarettes that went missing when I used to smoke cigarettes.
That was crazy.
It went missing from my pocket that was in the closet.
Yeah.
Woke up the next morning, it was completely gone.
It was like something wanted us to fight, because these things, if you know anything about anything, okay, you steal somebody's Newports, you're going to have problems if you steal somebody's cigarettes, okay? And that was the brand of choice for us. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Why would I steal your cigarettes? And it was fighting, going back and forth, things missing, things broken.
A benevolent spirit that was trying to separate us. Or
we swear.
And maybe this is why, because they knew we would eventually be connecting with people and, sharing our stories and testimonies, and getting to meet new, interesting people. And maybe they didn't want that back then, because, these type of spirits could see into the future, I believe.
Yeah.
It seemed like a movie almost. Like
I swear.
The river story really had me like, wow, I feel like that's something I would see in a movie. That's so scary. Like, does that affect you to this day still? Like, do you have like any PTSD over that? Or
yes.
Hell yeah, I definitely have PTSD behind that. It's taken my life on a whole different journey, because at 7, 8 years old, you know, the last thing you're thinking about is spirits and demons or deities or anything like that. But once that happens to you, you know,
it marks you.
It marks you, and it stirs deeper thinking, and you know, to the possibilities, you know, of what's out there. And that's really what got me started on this path of you know, paranormal, supernatural activities, stories, testimonies. Wow, we heard a really wacky one about, there was this guy, he was a Santeria practitioner, and he claimed that he traveled from Puerto Rico, I believe, to Haiti inside of a matchbox.
It was from Dominican Republic to Haiti, because there was some sort of lockdown at the border or something of Dominican and Haiti, and he said that he
shrunk
traveled.
Himself. Yeah, he shrunk himself down.
This dude is talking about transmogrification.
Yeah, in a matchbox.
The hell?
To get on a plane, and I mean, it was crazy.
It wasn't even a plane. It was some sort of. I think somebody was driving. They're right there in the border next to each other. So there was no plane. It was. It's just the stuff this guy said was weird, but and it's hard to believe if you use your brain. But if you felt the vibe that you feel while watching his video, now this is in Spanish, by the way, that this video was, but you hear weird things coming from these countries. I mean, you can't front, like, they be finding cows with gold teeth. Like who the hell would invest gold teeth into their cow?
Yeah, it seems pointless.
Yeah, it seems stupid. And they claim that people can turn other people into animals in that religion, and that zombification is actually a thing. It's so scary. Dame Saturday says, my most freaky experience with a ghost was one who stopped me from getting hit by a truck. Sounds like that was an angel, girl. You go, girl. I mean, somebody's looking out for you.
That's crazy. It makes me feel like all my little, I guess you could say, paranormal stories are like so insignificant.
Oh no, it's all connected, bro. Nothing's insignificant. Everything matter, and like Lauryn Hill says, everything is everything. Yep, that's just the way it is. Everything's connected. It's like a tree and its roots. We're all connected somehow, especially spiritually. We believe in the spiritual world. There's something out there. It's undeniable. It's just too many freaky things happening. Like the gold-toothed cows.
Yes, that's crazy. It kind of reminds me of like I think it's called alchemy, where they're transmutating things and changing things into gold or whatever. I'm not sure if it's just gold, but it just like that kind of stuff. Like it's so deep rooted in human history. So for me growing up, it always was just like there has to be something more to it. It can't just be people's imaginations. It can't just be, you know, a coincidence. Like I feel that there's too many people that have experienced something they can't explain for it to be just, you know, some sort of coincidence or just you know, your imagination. Because like, are millions and millions of people really just having, you know, psychotic breaks, or are
Seriously.
I don't think so, because I don't think I'm crazy, and I've definitely experienced some stuff, maybe nothing to this sort like you guys have, but like I feel like I'm not crazy and I've definitely experienced it. Like I was 12 years old and I knew that's when I stopped messing with ghosts entirely, because I went to this old burned down house and I was just doing like what I saw on TV. You know, they're like talking crap to the ghosts, you know, provoking them and stuff. And that night I came home and I just had the worst nightmares. I had sleep paralysis for the first time in my life. I saw this shadow in the corner of my room and I had these cold sweats all the time. And I was like, okay, that's enough for me. I don't need to mess with that anymore. And I haven't ever actually gone, I guess you say, ghost hunting since then. But something as simple as that like made it like real to me, you know?
Welcome, demented centaur. Is that you, evil satire? You have the same. How you doing? So yeah, Swamp. Look, it's needless to say there is something, because it's like you said. There's no way, millions and billions actually, if you go back all the way to the beginning of time when we could actually hold those records, you know, and it goes back in time. I mean, all the accounts of just weird stuff just happening. There's gotta be something to it. Come on, in the very least.
That's why I feel the same thing with cryptids. I mean, you can what Dogman in a sense. You can go all the way back to Sumerians, and you can see dog-headed people, bipedal dog creatures. Go to the medieval times, Germany, England. There's all these kinds of werewolf and lycanthropes and all kinds of bipedal dog creatures. So to me, it just seems like that can't be. It's not something new. It's been around for a long time, and people have been allegedly seeing or experiencing these things. So if like early civilizations like Egypt were talking about Anubis per se, like they said in the chat, then I feel like there has to be more credence to it.
Well, yeah, Dame Saturday brings up a good point. She said, Anubis, anyone? And it's true. If you look at Dogman and his description, does it not remind you of Anubis, the god that the ancients worshipped?
Yeah, that's the first thing when I first started doing research on that. That was the first thing I looked into. I was like, how far back does this go? And as I said, like, you can find it from medieval times all the way to Egyptians. It's insane.
Wow. Like the maniacal JC says, based in UK over here. Hey, say hi to everybody in the UK for us. Thank you for listening. He says they had a major werewolf scare in the Midlands as recent as 2016. Yeah, these things just keep popping up everywhere. Not just Dogman, but I'm sorry. I get distracted easily because I always say the same thing. I have ADHD, but Nihongo Johnny says I am shook. I am shooketh, Nihongo Johnny. Like, my whole life is shooketh. Yeah, we totally feel you on that one. Totally.
I just wonder if it's the same thing, or maybe they're just different variants. Because I feel like, werewolves and lycanthropes are two different things, and obviously Dogman is a whole different thing from that. Then you got loop-garoos and rougarous, and it just never ends. But I just wonder, is it the same? Because what Maniacal JC was talking about is the black shuck over there in the UK is their version of Dogman or werewolf or whatever you want to call it that day. And I just wonder if it's the same thing. If it's is it something supernatural or is it a real creature? And I feel like that's why that passion has never died for me. It's so many questions that are unanswered, might not ever be answered.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're eventually all gonna find out one way or the other. I really believe very, very strongly in the afterlife, and I believe that all questions will be answered then. Only because of what I've heard about people who've actually had near-death experiences. Yeah, baby. That, and it's just too many similar stories. It's just, I heard one where doctor, okay? Not a doctor. She was some sort of psychologist or some sort of forensic psychologist or something like that. And she says that there was a study, oh God, I gotta find it, where she would take some words, right, and use these billboards, sort of, and put them at the top of the roof of the hospital that she was doing this study in. And she was studying near-death experiences. And the people that she interviewed that had near-death experiences in that specific hospital would see the words that are written on the roof, and nobody else but her knew about this. And this experience she's talking about was actually featured in a movie, which was an independent movie. It was an independent film. And it was about life after death from a religious perspective, of course. This was from a religious perspective. I can't talk today. Oh, man. Go ahead,
Happens
dude.
the best of us.
You have no idea how many times I have to record things over and over again and say things over and over again during narration, because I wasn't blessed with the gift of gab. Hi, Mandy. I wasn't blessed with the gift of gab like Mr. Dreadful here. He says things once, and sometimes he'll skip something or something. Everybody makes mistakes, but not as often as I do. The editing be brutal, bro.
Been there. There's some days where I just can't read. It's just like I'm stumbling over every word. It's like simple words, but you're just like, why can't I say this?
We even tried incorporating some bloopers into a video or two that we put out. You know, it's like,
They're all
hey,
mine.
let's put some bloopers out. You know, to give the fans a little laugh and chuckle, because you know we like to keep it. You know, we like to mix it up.
Oh yeah, humor and horror go hand in hand.
Yes.
Hey, Freddy.
Yes.
Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
He's got one of the best one-liners in horror history, I'd say.
Wanna suck face?
I really love Freddy versus Jason. I just watched that movie again the other day, and the one-liners and what they say to like what he says to Jason and the kids in that movie is just. I don't even think they would allow that in movie theaters anymore.
Oh, hell no.
They dropped the ball. They should have came out with a part 2, you know, or like maybe like Freddy and Jason, no, Michael Myers or something.
Oh, that
they
would be
really
so
could have exploited that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Michael versus Jason would just be like endless. Like one guy is stabbed, falls down, gets back up. It would just be never ending.
Yeah.
But it kind of was like that with Freddy versus Jason anyway, because in the end, what is he doing?
He's alive. Yeah.
Walking away with his head, which is still laughing.
That's why I got a kick out of the Alien versus Predators movies.
That was
because
dope.
it was cool to see like a crossover, you know.
Oh yeah.
I
feel like that was the
crossovers.
last time it was really done really well. It was like the Alien versus Predator stuff.
Yes. Absolutely.
Hey, you know something? We have a scene. Put that scene, honey. Put the story time scene
Which
right
one?
quick. I mean, as long as we don't lose,
Well, let's see.
we're not gonna lose them, right? If we go to
I
the
don't
story
know.
scene.
I'm very new at
Because
these, you guys.
if you want, can you still talk?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
Great.
Because this is our story scene, and we have this up for like people to come on and say a story. So how about if it's okay with you, maybe you could read one of the previous stories from like 8 videos ago. You know, would you care to say one?
Yeah. Let me open up my archive here. And,
Nice. We're just gonna mute our mics and let you say it to this creepy music and background.
Ooh.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Let's see.
Everyone, we are being given a treat tonight because Swamp Dweller has.
You put him on the spot, baby. That's
No, but he could have said no. I would have understood. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I'm used to this. What do you guys want to hear? Like
Anything.
Anything, whichever you want to share with us.
This is actually something I'm going to hit you guys up after we get off here about, since we talked about Black Eyed Kids. I'm doing my first ever Black Eyed Kids video,
Awesome.
so I'll read one of those.
Nice.
And I definitely want to have you guys join me on that video.
Oh, see now, wow. My birthday was like 4 or 5 days ago,
Oh, God.
so this is like another present, man. Thank you.
Well, happy belated birthday. Sorry I
you.
missed that.
Oh, God,
okay.
don't start that.
Hey, do you know something?
No, don't.
Do you know who else shares a birthday with me?
Oh, damn.
It's a famous actor with the initials JD.
Oh, my.
Johnny Depp?
Yeah,
There
Mr.
we
Pirates, Mr. Pirates of the Caribbean. You know what's my favorite movie though of Johnny Depp? It's the one that he's an antique book curator. It's The Ninth Gate.
Oh, that was freaky.
That's
I need to watch
actually.
that. I've never heard of that one.
You
Really?
should.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good one.
the symbolism. That's what you have to pay
Yeah,
attention to.
if you could watch it tonight, do it. It's a good freaky thriller, suspense.
Yeah, it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is a Black Eyed Kid story. It was sent in by Chris W. So thank you, Chris W., wherever in the world you are. One night, when my girlfriend was pregnant with my son, I drank some beer after work. I had 2 jobs, and at this job, I get free beer after work. I drank a little bit more than I'd intended to. When I got back home, my girlfriend was mad because I had been gone all day and then came home drunk. I had worked both jobs on this day, so I had been gone all day, but I was not just out getting drunk. I drank for an hour and a half after my second job. Either way, she was late in her pregnancy and she was mad. So instead of bothering her, I told her I would sleep in my van. I went outside and drove to the deserted parking lot a few miles away. This was in a huge apartment complex, but this part of it was being remodeled or something along those lines. One lone apartment building along the tree line with a secluded parking lot is where I settled down. Perfect to lay the back seat down and sleep without being bothered. It was very cold outside, like 0 or below, so I had to get up every couple of hours to start the van for a half hour to get warmed up inside the van. I had 2 or 3 big blankets and a couple of pillows. I went to sleep at about midnight and turned the power off on my phone to save the 15% charge I had left in the battery. I had been up and down a couple of times through the night, turning the car on and off. It was now about 5:30 a.m. I woke up to a cat scratching on a rusty spot in the back of the van. At first, I just lay there, hoping it would go away. After a few minutes of this, though, I got aggravated, thinking I would have to get up and run the cat away from my car. I had my head covered over because it was so cold. I sat up looking for my shoes and was freezing. As I was looking for my shoes to put them on, a child just stood up from where the scratching had been coming from. A 12-year-old pale girl with black hair. As soon as I made eye contact, I immediately looked down from my phone, thinking to myself, what's wrong with her face? I couldn't put my finger on it. It scared the crap out of me, and I jumped in the driver's seat to leave. This child did not move and was just staring at me. I saw some toys sitting in the seat beside me, and it was like she was putting thoughts into my head to make this seem normal. I started thinking maybe she is homeless and she wanted a toy. But every time I thought like that, another thing would enter my mind, and I would dismiss it because it just felt so wrong. It was below 0, and this girl was wearing a short-sleeved dress, just staring at me. I started the van and she was suddenly gone. As I pulled off, I saw her almost glowing at the tree line. I went home and told my girlfriend about it, and only in retelling of the story did I figure out what was wrong with her. She had no eyes. There were black voids where her eyes should be, like 2 small black holes for eyes. I knew about the black-eyed kids, but I didn't even think about it at the time. I figured their eyes would jump out at you, but honestly they don't. Even knowing about them, it took me a little while to realize what she was. My girlfriend believed me straight off, and said the way I had been acting lately, she wouldn't be surprised if demons tried to take me. It was a textbook case, except for one thing. The girl never spoke. She never asked me for help. It was like she wanted to get me caught up in her stare, and I could feel the thoughts being painted in my mind from her. This, to me, was more intense of an encounter than what you normally hear with black-eyed kids. If I would ever have looked her in the eyes again, I think she would have gotten me. It was primal fear, and the more I think about it, the more I realize how close I came to death. Even having her controlling my thoughts and without recognizing the eyes right away, my fear took over, and I was scared to look this child in the eye. Interesting story there. Hopefully that was up to par for everybody.
Oh my, that was a great story, man. Whoever sent you that, I feel for them. I hope they're okay because sometimes they come back.
Wow.
Definitely. I feel like black-eyed kids are just so creepy, man. Like, like if I open my door and there's like kids with black eyes, they're like, "Let us inside."
I think. Wait, we need to give him a round of applause. Everyone.
Hell yeah, he didn't make a mistake.
Thank you so much, Swamp.
He didn't make not one mistake. That's insane.
That's a professional.
I was like, man, if I make a mistake, they're all gonna know that I'm a sellout here.
Nah, this guy's a true pro. But yeah, back to that story, man. Like you said, sometimes they come back. So
I just think the choice of sleeping in your van because your wife was mad is a little interesting. When it's that cold, I was like, at least the couch or something, right?
Yeah.
Like she really wanted him in the doghouse for real.
But you know something, these Becks, as they call them, black-eyed children, they have been seen all over the world. Many reports have been made of people seeing them, but the thing is, the ones that have the scary, like the ones that meet their doom, they just go on as missing people or something, you know, and we just don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, think about it. There's no accounts really. I think I've only heard ever one of people who have
a
let
survivor.
them in,
Yeah.
and it's a survivor. You know, so that tells me either this is total BS or the people who actually let them in don't make it.
I heard of this story where like this guy let him in and then he got cancer of like the eyes and died.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
damn.
I'm not sure exactly what the term for cancer of the eyes are. Maybe it was cataracts or something like that. But like he apparently like let them in to use the phone. He died of cataracts or some sort of cancer, and then his wife, who handed them the phone, ended up apparently, I think she lost the arm. For some reason, she had some like I can't remember the details, but some disease, and like it was like her arm was rotting, like a flesh rotting disease. And she said that she touched them, and she says that, you know, whenever she touched them, she must have contracted this disease, and I think she eventually died as well.
Dame Saturday says that black-eyed adults are rare.
Yeah, that's the thing now. Black-eyed adults, apparently.
In this video, I have a story sent about them where like it's like a black-eyed family. Like they have like this van, and like these two black-eyed adults like send these black-eyed kids to this guy's door. He doesn't open it because he sees what's happening from his window. And I thought that was really interesting because I had never heard of black-eyed adults before. I only heard of kids.
Oh, fudge, no.
But it seemed like an
No.
operation, you know, like a family of them. It was interesting.
I've never heard that one. You know, the thing about paranormal is like, you know how many creatures are in the ocean that have not been discovered yet? I think that there's more to like the black-eyed phenomenon, as well as other like cryptids and things that we don't know yet. There's like so many creatures out there.
It seems endless sometimes.
Well, Aisha is going bye-bye. We're gonna miss you.
Yeah,
We
you're
love you, and thank you for being here, sweetheart. It was great having you here. You have a good night, okay?
Hello, April. April's in. Thank you for stopping by. April, in case you do not know, we have the one and the only Swamp Dweller on with us as a guest. He's been with us for the past maybe 2 hours. He is super chill, super intelligent, and very congenial. So if you have a question to ask Swamp Dweller, April, be my guest.
He did a freestyle live reading for those who are just coming in now.
That's right.
He just you just watch the replay of this live, and we put him on the spot and asked him to read something,
And he came through like a champ.
He did. You know, I couldn't do that. I can't. Who knows? You know, I think I've read stuff live before, but never that good.
We need to ask the most important question that we haven't asked yet. Swamp Dweller, how did you come up with your name?
I love when people ask me this question because I have the most lame answer. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
I live in a swamp.
Wow. How fortuitous is that?
You know
It's
what?
very
it's common
original.
sense. So many people are missing that nowadays, but it's such a common sense name. He dwells in a swamp, so he's a swamp dweller. Genius.
I love that question though, because everybody like expects me to have like some really awesome, like cool answer. And I'm just like, oh man, maybe I should make one. Maybe I should just make some crazy story. But I just grew up in a swamp here in Central Florida, and kind of just seemed fitting.
Absolutely. April says that you were the first person she subbed to when she started to watch videos. So that's an interesting factoid.
Very appreciated, April.
Wow, your first, April. He's right here. Face to face with your first. Pun intended. I'm being weird.
That's okay. It's Friday. People get a little weird. Oh, that reminds me, to all of you who are on Twitter, do not forget it's FF Friday on Twitter, so make sure you do your FF Fridays.
Oh crap, that's an indirect to me. I haven't done one in a long time, and I'm usually the one that handles that. So that just means that I need to get on my job and find some people to FF that I haven't already. And it's hard, man. That's really hard.
How do you handle it, Swamp Dweller? Do you do the FF Friday thing? Did you ever do it? Like,
I've actually never done it, but my every Friday I wake up and it's just like my notifications are like massacred. It's just like tagged in like 30 things and people commenting over it. So it's really hard for me to like find the actual post half the time, but I do appreciate everybody who tags me in those. But I've never really done it myself because I just never thought about it, if I'm honest. Like I'm always like I'm doing like a zillion things at once all the time, and like my mind is always just like what's next. So I always forget like small things like that, which is maybe I should try doing that sometime.
So Aisha says before she leaves, she wants to say thank you, Swamp, for the amazing content.
Well, thank you, Aisha, for supporting it.
Indeed.
Can't do without you guys.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that's true. That is so true.
Mandy Mortem says she's glad she got to stop by, and good stream. And well, thank you, Mandy. And I think that the reason this is a good stream is because we have a good guest, Mr. Swamp Dweller. So thank you for stopping by, Swamp Dweller. We always enjoy connecting with not only fans, but with other fellow content creators. And I view you as a peer. I view you as even a mentor, because you've been in this for such a long time. You know all the ins and the outs, and you are not shy about, giving people good advice and sharing your wisdom.
Definitely. I mean, I can
Damn.
only be a good guest as good as the hosts are, and you guys are very good hosts. Very cordial, and definitely ask good questions that you aren't going to hear, like the cookie cutter that everybody else asks.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, well, we try, because we've seen plenty of interviews. I mean, who hasn't, right? Everybody's seen an interview here or there. But I think the best ones are the ones that are unfiltered, that are just like impromptu, and it keeps it real, It's not
Definitely.
It's not
I usually don't even do interviews, if I'm honest with you. So like
wow.
I just, like I said, I just get really bored with them because like everybody asks you like the same 10 questions, like how did you start, where's your name from, that kind of stuff. So like it's really refreshing to sometimes just be like, F it, I'll go on this stream and see what happens, and then you get like actually really good questions that don't really pertain to the YouTube channel, but just pertain to you as a person. And I like that a lot more than the typical, questions.
Well, a lot of our questions, though, tonight, we got to give a lot of credit to the chat, because these guys have kept us on our toes. It's pretty hard to keep up. And it's only 17 people, so you can imagine if it was hundreds of people. I think I'd be on the floor passed out or something. But a lot of our questions have come from the chat. That's why we love to incorporate our chat and our viewers, because they come up with the best stuff ever, like topics we could just keep talking all night. Why? Because they give us infinite content, and subjects are just really, really cool.
Well, let's say goodbye to Benny Long, because he said he has to get going. He has a long day tomorrow. Take care and be well, everyone. So thank you, Benny Long, for stopping by, and thank you for the well wishes. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Benny. You have a good night, brother, and rest well, my brother.
Disturbed K, roll call is in the house. Hello, Disturbed K. Thank you for stopping by. On chat with us is the one and only Swamp Dweller.
Yes, Disturbed K, thank you for stopping in. She's pretty cool, man. This girl is cool. She's a newbie as well, like us. So, we're wearing the same sleeve. So, let's hear it for Disturbed K. She's pretty cool, man. She's doing her thing. She's doing her thing solo. So give it up for the girls.
Yes, give it up for the girls doing their own thing.
Yeah, we got some nice badass chicks up in here. We got Dame Saturday, Disturbed K, Gothic Rose. There's a few ladies
Karen
up in
Suave.
here. Yeah. I don't know if Karen does content though, but I'm talking about mainly the ones that are doing
content creators, yeah.
Yeah, Karen Suave is an amazing supporter though. I said it before and I'll say it again. These guys that are supporting us, the promoters, people like Creepy Clown Girl, people like Stacy Scotty, Karen, Ophelia, these Mary Murphy, these are all people that are, a lot of you guys may not know who they are. The ones that, well, the creators know who they are, but a lot of people that are just normal viewers, they don't know who a lot of these promoters are. They take out of their time to just promote just promote the channels that they like. That's amazing.
Yeah, Johnny does that too. He gave us a shout out, and I'm
And
so.
Danny does that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Johnny's also a creator though.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
I always say he has amazing hair.
Reaper tells us back. Hey Reaper, thanks for coming back.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Let me ask Swamp Dweller this question. So Swamp, who are your top three like people that make horror? Because I know you mentioned M. Night Shyamalan, right? But who else do you like? Name two others that make movies that you really like.
Oh man, I always forget their names. I like Blumhouse Productions a lot,
Yes.
but I can't ever think of like the director guy. I'm gonna Google this real quick. The guy who directed Hide and Seek and all those movies.
I like Blumhouse horror. I love seeing them. And the other one is like Ghost something. It has a keyhole.
Is it Ghost Ship? Right?
Yeah.
No?
It's like when the movie starts and you see a keyhole and then you see like a skull in the keyhole.
Yeah.
Those people make good stuff too. I forgot the name of them.
John Polson is who I'm thinking of, is the guy that directed Hide and Seek and a ton of other thrillers that I really like.
Nice.
I don't know. I guess I don't really pay attention to directors and people who create like horror movies that much, but like just horror creators in general, I'd say Nihongo Johnny's one that I watch a lot. It's one of my favorites. Definitely a good one. Man, it's such a hard question. There's so many to like shift through and think about.
Who I like, we came across your channel shortly before starting Dezombified. So I was watching you. I was watching you, and I was also watching Dark Waters, who is like one of my heroes. I was watching Real Ghost Stories Online. They do it very kind of similarly to what we do it, because they read stuff live, and they're a couple. So that really inspired me. Oh my God, I would love to talk to them someday. But have you ever heard of Real Ghost Stories Online?
I have. I've actually, I didn't know they were a couple because I've never actually seen their content, but I've talked to them a few times on Twitter. So I guess I'll say them now, but I would say him, or I talked to the husband, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or boyfriend. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, that's her husband and the father of her children. They're a couple, and yeah, they do the show together. He's more active on the show than she is. I guess because she chooses to, do the mommy thing more. Our kids are a little bit bigger than theirs, so, I may have a little bit more time on my hands. But, yeah, they're a couple, and they're phenomenal, by the way. They're very phenomenal. So that's one of my heroes also. But yeah, you guys are the ones that I was watching before I was falling asleep listening to creepypastas, cryptids, Bigfoot, all that type of stuff. And Dr. J Radio Live, George Norrie, Coast to Coast AM. Those are the type of things that I used to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep if I'm not hearing something. For real.
Oh, I'm the same way. I need like background noise. Like it's hard for me to just like fall asleep unless I'm just like dead tired.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I have a white noise machine that I got off Amazon, and it has like 30 different white noise sounds to help me. Because I mean, when you grow up in a populated metropolitan area like we did, and right outside your window is like a main street where cars are always going by, you kind of get used to it, having that noise. And when it's like eerily pitch quiet and you can hear like the house creaking and making sounds, it's a little freaky.
Yeah, I have tinnitus because when I was working in music, I would always be next to these really loud speakers, and I've been hit in the head a few times by some flying guitars, so I have this ringing constantly in my right ear. So if I don't have some sort of noise, like it's just impossible for me to sleep.
Oh wow! I'm sorry to hear that about getting whacked in the head with
It's a good video. Maybe I'll send it to you guys. I have it on video.
Okay.
It's actually hilarious. Like you see me like I get near my friend, he hits me in the head on accident when he spins his guitar, and then right when I'm like, oh crap, I'm dazed, and I go to the other side of the stage, I get hit by my other friend's guitar. It's the funniest thing, honestly. It wasn't funny at the time. It sucked at the time, but like when I watch it now, I'm like, dude, I don't know how I didn't get knocked out. I somehow did it, but it's one of the funniest things I've honestly ever seen.
Who you
Damn, I must have heard it.
Some of the worst accidents I have had would be YouTube gold right now. If I'd be famous. Maybe not the way I want to, but I'm very clumsy. I'm very clumsy.
Yeah, you would have went viral with some of those clumsy moments.
We've been together a while, you guys, so he has seen my worst spills ever. But remember that time at the beach, baby?
Oh, the wave just took you. And it wasn't even a powerful wave either. It was like a mediocre wave. It just dragged you out.
Lost at sea.
Yeah, she's not, the hand-eye coordination is not her forte.
No, it's not. I have horrible balance. I suffer from vertigo and fibromyalgia and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to name here. But one of them is ADHD. And that's probably the reason why I have to go to sleep with listening to something. Because I feel like I have to focus on something in order to get to sleep. I know it sounds weird, but it's almost like self-hypnotism. And that's why I go to sleep listening to things. But yeah, completely unrelated to the spills and the horrible falls I've had. Distraction.
I just think it's personally awesome that how things come full circle where as you said, like you listened to me in Dark Waters and stuff, and now you guys are here in the mix with us, and it feels good to know that you can somewhat inspire people just by doing something you like to do. And I like hearing that, because I get it all the time. People are like, you inspire me, but like it's not very often where like you actually get to like meet those people or talk to them and hear like how it like helped them be able to make something creative themselves.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
We've always, like, I don't know about her, but I've always been a ham, and I always wanted attention, and I always was quick with my mouth, And I like words, man.
Maybe that's how you got me. He got the gift of gab, ladies. He could talk the panties off of anybody.
Okay, let's not go there. Okay.
Seriously.
But let's not go there.
No. Yeah. He just doesn't want me to say he used to be a player. That's what it is.
Don't paint me in that light, okay? Anyway, the point is, I love words. I remember when I was in the first grade and I wrote a paper, and my teacher said, wow, that's a very well expressed young man. You should look into journalism. So I always liked that word, poems, music, it doesn't matter, stories, stories have words, So I was always big into the power, of the spoken word. And, being, having YouTube and being able to see, guys like yourself, B Buster and everything like that, you guys also have the love for words too. So I'm like, hey, we have the love for words, and we like scary stories and paranormal, supernatural things because we've experienced it ourselves. So why not make this a hobby and just do it? Definitely, you are an influencer, believe it or not. You guys that are with great content, great thumbnails, you are definitely influencers to the rest of us. So thank you for your contribution to the community.
It's awesome to hear that, honestly, and thank you guys. You guys make it possible. Like I'm just a dude with a YouTube channel behind a computer screen, so it's super cool to hear that like we do have some sort of effect greater than just providing entertainment for people.
Yeah, that's why I asked you earlier if anyone had reached out to you from like Hollywood and stuff like that, because as I said, I view you as an influencer. Guys like you and B Buster and the other guys, you guys are influencers. So I'm wondering, your influence has to reach Hollywood eventually, sooner or later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did with that stories to tell in the dark thing that you said before. Yeah, that's what it is. They're just copying off of the YouTubers. They're trying to redirect the attention back to Hollywood.
Amazon
That's what it
Prime
is.
has a lot of videos with like similar type of titles to a lot of like.
Yeah, but you know
content
they do feature creators, YouTube content creators. They
on
do.
Amazon.
Yes, they do. So that's one thing that I gotta give kudos to Amazon for. They actually gave us the props that we deserve. Not so much, of course, not Dezombified. 'Cause, you know, come on, they don't even know who
the
we
hell
are.
are we, right?
But they have had some content creators on there on Amazon. You know, of course, for free because you know. But hey, it's clout is clout. You know what I mean?
Anywhere you can be getting exposure is definitely worth it.
That's totally true. That's why I said, you know, bring your whole talent to this. Bring anything you have, you know. I'm not, you know, I'm going to say the truth. I'm not Mariah, but I got a decent voice. So, you know, that's why I said, let's bring that to Twitch. You know, they have Twitch Sings now.
Yep.
So if that can help redirect attention to our channel, why not? And then this dude, he kills it with rap. He's an amazing lyricist. You guys haven't heard the best of him yet, I can promise you that. But and we like gaming, so hey, if that's gonna be also an avenue to bring some clout to the channel, why not? If we have gifts, we should just use them.
Yes.
Why sit on it?
Yes, we were all given gifts and we need to use them. That is true, because if not, they're just wasted. You know, we don't want to do that.
You don't want to waste a good gift, and I definitely would like to hear your guys' music. It'd be really cool to hear that stuff. I'm a huge hip hop fan myself, so definitely love to hear some new spits, some new rhymes.
Oh,
I think my favorite rhyme was the one about hell. You know, I did and you know, Miss Stereo, man, she put a hella scary video together for that.
well, actually, you know, I just use scenes from very old vintage silent films. Dante's Inferno specifically, I loved that one. I also used some stuff from what's the name of that other movie? It escapes my mind, and I had it in my brain too, but you know, we did use it. But since you're talking about it, would you like to hear
you know
it?
what, we should end the show with that, right?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna end the show with that.
But I want to remind Swamp Dweller, you need to see that movie with Johnny Depp called The Ninth Gate.
Yes.
The Ninth Gate. I will write that down right now.
You should check
It sounds
that out.
familiar. I just don't think I've ever seen it.
So he plays a antique book curator for hire, and this wealthy individual hires him to locate a rare copy of an esoteric book that he believes can help him achieve supernatural powers or something like that. And Johnny Depp comes across a female who helps him along the way, and it's good. You should check it out. One of his better films, I believe. And Rear Window, also, he was in Rear Window. I believe that was a classic movie. It was a remake of a classic. It might have been a John Sterling movie or an Alfred Hitchcock movie. So, yeah, those are two good ones that he was in that I really enjoyed.
Definitely. Have you ever heard of I think the movie's called 21 with God, what's his name? He usually does funny stuff. Jim Carrey?
Oh, 23.
23.
Oh, 23, yeah. I always get that confused.
Yeah, that's one of his better movies too, actually.
I feel like it's a very underrated one, and like when I was reading into the plot of it here on Google, it kind of was reminding me similar something to like that, where it's like a very psychological movie. I definitely will be a big fan of this Ninth Gate one.
Yes. Have you ever seen The Wicker Man?
Yes. I actually have it in my collection.
Yeah, the original was really good, man. There's a lot of symbology in there too. I felt bad for the guy at the end, man. They did him dirty.
Oh yeah.
That whole town was on something.
Interesting movies. I like older movies. I just miss like the
atmosphere.
Exactly, yeah, like the atmosphere and the originality, and like everything's a remake now, and that just like is so boring.
Mhm.
I gotta stop you guys for a second. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have to give a shout out to Dark and Grim, who's in the chat. He always stops by and says hi and bye, guys.
Mhm. Sorry, can't stay, but
It's
hey.
like an inside joke with us because in our title, for some reason, I don't know why, but we really love putting Serial Dread stop by and say hi or say hello and go. And he just does just that. He comes in, he says hi, and then goes. But thank you just for saying hi, Dark and Grim. We love you, man. You're funny, man. He's funny.
He is.
But go ahead.
Another cool dude right there. There's a lot of cool dudes and a lot of cool chicks that come up on here. We really appreciate every single one of you. But back to the movies, man. So, man, there's so many good movies, man. Like older movies, some of the older movies are more scarier than some of the newer ones because they knew about pace. They understood atmosphere, you know, and how to build up tension.
It's why no horror movie has ever been able to outdo The Exorcist. Ever. And I don't think ever will. Ever. Because it's so scary and so many people, the majority of the population believes in the spirit world, you know, and whether they deny it publicly outright is another thing, but there's a reason why that movie is the way that it is and always will be. I don't think there's ever going to be a movie like that.
You know how I
ever
come
again.
across some of these gems from like the 50s or the 60s or whatever? I just Google it, man, like good horror movies, you know, like from the 60s or good horror movies from the 70s. And then I just look at the titles, read the descriptions, and you know, I might check out a trailer on YouTube first. And if it catches my attention, I will definitely check it out.
Definitely. I like a lot of early 2000s movies. I felt like the early 2000s was like a resurgence for horror films.
Eight-Legged Freaks. Did you get to see Eight-Legged Freaks?
I love it.
It was made like an 80s, you know, 70s cheesy horror flicks that had these huge spiders. You know, it even had like the guy from Back to the Future. The crazy old scientist guy, Doc.
Oh man,
I think he was in it
that
too.
guy's name.
He is so awesome.
This guy, let me see here. Dark Ingram says he's listening, but he does have to go. It's okay, bro. Just thanks for being here.
Yeah,
in
Get
the
Out.
first place. But
That was a good one.
yeah, this guy. Oh man, I kind of lost. Who said Get Out, baby?
Oh no, the maniacal JC. He says, "Do we like the movie Get Out?"
Ah.
Yeah, that movie was something.
I'm not
It
gonna
was
lie.
something. I like it.
Really, it was something that for me personally, it was a one-time watch, and it entertained me while I was watching it.
But back to
That's it.
Swamp, you said the early 2000 movies. Which ones were you referring to?
Man, there's a lot of them, but as I said, like my first horror movie that I ever really saw that got me into horror originally was The Sixth Sense.
Oh, The Sixth Sense.
That's probably my favorite horror movie of all time. Hide and Seek, I felt, was a really good one. I keep mentioning the same ones, but Jeepers Creepers, that's actually the first movie I ever saw in theaters as a little kid.
Yes, Jeepers Creepers. That, oh my goodness, talk about a cult classic.
I
That
live
thing is
really close to
awesome.
where that's filmed. I live really close. My high school was on that
It's
road.
really close to where it's filmed.
Yeah, that road that they're on is called High School Road.
High
and
School
that,
Road?
that's the road I went to high school on for a couple of months before I moved out of state. But
Oh my god, that's funny.
it's really interesting because it looks exactly the same still. Like if you look at it now and you look at like the I think that movie's almost 20 years old almost now, and if you look at the road, it still looks exactly the same. It's insane. The barn's still there and everything.
Wow. He says the barn is still there and everything for Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, wow.
High School Road, he said, is close to where it, how you call it, where he went to high school. And then the barn is there and everything. That's creepy. I'm just repeating back to him what you said, honey, because he had his headphones off for a second.
My ears are getting hot.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So we have to take turns taking off the headphones sometimes. You know, especially me. You know, I'm a female, so you know, get all sorts of temperature changes. We always do.
Did you get that video
territory.
Because I think we should in about a few minutes end this transmission in a few, because we've had Swamp Thriller on way too long. I know he has a family and a life, you know. So why don't you cue up that music video, and you know, we can get ready to start, you know, shutting down this live in a few minutes.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, he says it sounds good.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's a good movie. I liked the remake that they did too with oh man, what's that blonde girl's name? She's a really good actress.
Brooke Adams.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, they did a remake of the Body Snatchers with Nicole Kidman. It was pretty good, and it had
I saw that one.
It had that James Bond dude, the last one. What's his name?
I don't know his name.
I can't. He was in that Cowboys and Aliens movie.
Oh man, I cannot remember.
That was a
his
good
name.
movie. I enjoyed that one. Cowboys versus Aliens. That was something.
Dame Saturday says Night of the Living Dead. I know what you guys are doing. They're trying to keep us on longer because they're doing this awesome chat, and this is how it happens, you guys.
That's okay.
The chat, it's just like they pull us back in every time we want to leave.
Like Al Pacino.
Yes, they pull us back in. And it's like, no, it's awesome though, because it makes us feel, you know, it makes you feel wanted, and it makes you feel, you know, loved.
This is a safe place for people to come and chill out and hang out, you know, and just relax, man.
And forget and forget real life, you know. Forgetting real life sometimes is just so important. You need that.
Well, Weeper Tell says, I'm gonna head out, guys. Amazing stream, and thanks, Swamp, for showing me this amazing channel. Well, thank you, Swamp, for letting Weeper Tells know about us, and thank you, Weeper Tells, for stopping by.
And for saying we're amazing. Oh my
yes,
God.
Daniel Craig.
Thank you.
Yes, that is the guy. He was in Cowboys versus Aliens.
Oh, Daniel Craig. Okay,
Yes,
gotcha. Yeah.
But do you know they're making a remake to, not a remake, they're making a sequel to The Shining. Did you enjoy The Shining? Did you ever see that, Swamp?
Oh, I love Stephen King movies. I think I own all of them at this point. Stephen King is I don't know. I love The Shining. Great movie. I love the scene where it's like, I love the memes that people make out of it, where like his face is into the comes into the doors. Like
they're supposed to be making a remake of that Shining. Oh no, not a remake. A part two, a sequel to The Shining.
About the little boy. He grew up.
The little boy when he grew up, his son. That was a pretty neat idea. I hope they execute it properly.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. Just well, they're making it. They're making a remake, and he's gonna be playing. Who's gonna be playing?
A remake.
Again?
It's gonna be a sequel. The young boy is all grown up now.
Okay.
Ethan McGregor.
Ethan McGregor. Okay, it's gonna be interesting.
He's gonna be the young boy, all grown up.
That's gonna be interesting. We'll have to see how that turns out. I hope they don't mess it up.
I plan on binging on Nosferatu.
Oh.
I've only seen 2 episodes, but you know it's made by Stephen King's son, and it was a book, and it was well reviewed, and so yeah, I plan on watching that tonight. A few episodes of Nosferatu.
Have you seen Nosferatu yet, Swamp?
I have seen the original one, but if that's what you're talking about, then yes.
No, the original one? You mean the movie?
Yeah, like from like the 40s or whatever.
This is a show.
It's a show.
Oh,
It's
a
a
show?
short. Yeah, it's a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen King has a son who also decided he wanted to be an author. He wrote a book called Nosferatu, but it's spelled N-O-S and then the number 4, the letter R and 2. Nos4R2. Because that's what's on the guy's license plate. Okay, it's on his license plate of a 1930-something Rolls Royce Wraith. He drives around in that, abducting children. So
that's gonna be interesting. A lot of symbolism there.
Yeah, a lot of symbolism, and it was the show takes place about 15 minutes from where we are in a place called Haverhill, Massachusetts. So that's kind of spooky for us. And it was cool. I'm gonna give you a little spoiler because the guy's looking at a map, right? And on the map it says Pennywise Circus. It says what's that guy's name? The famous Arthur that he did Cthulhu.
Oh man.
Dante?
No.
He wrote Cthulhu. He was a famous author. Oh, man,
H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, H.P.
Yes,
Lovecraft.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
it says like H.P. Lovecraft Manor on the map. There's like some cool little like Easter eggs on that map. Cute, a few cool things there. It's cool.
Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, we definitely got to binge on that though. Nosferatu, it's a TV show. You guys got to check it out. We're gonna tweet it out. We're gonna tweet it out after the live. We're gonna tweet it out.
I can't wait to see some of the things that Swamp Dweller said he's gonna send us, like him getting hit on the head with a guitar and some other
rubbing
things
my hands.
that he said he was gonna send us. So I can't wait for that.
It's gonna be a lot of good
See
memes.
those things he's gonna share with us.
Nah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
rub up that video so we can start
Okay,
getting it
okay.
ready, honey.
So you guys, this is what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna read the chat because some of these people have things to say. So Dame says he or she, is it she? Yeah, she loved Beyond the Wall of Sleep by H.P. Lovecraft.
That's a good one.
The Cause of Othar.
I love the Cats of Ulthar. That's
Must be
my
some stories or
ultimate
some
favorite one. Such a
Yeah,
classic.
absolutely. So you guys, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Swamp Dweller, okay, tell us anything he needs to say before he leaves the live. Anything you want to leave anybody's, any thoughts you want to leave the chat with, and we're gonna close it down as our eldest is summoning us. Okay, but please, tell us anything you want to say to the people listening right now.
Well, I had a wonderful time on here. This was a lot of fun, and I would love to do it another time if you ever would like me on.
Oh, for sure, definitely, most definitely.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a good time, and all I really have to say is subscribe to Dezombified. They're like 2 subs away from 400, so help them hit that milestone. I'll
Thank
definitely
you.
be tweeting that out, and hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll see them on the Swamp Dweller channel soon with some Black Eyed Kids stuff.
Oh, for sure, most definitely. I will stop everything I'm doing just to get on that with you because you were so kind to take some time out of your day for us, so you know we're gonna repay that back in kind.
We're gonna do our best to make you proud. For
Yes. Yes, the Dunwich Horror. That's what I've been thinking for. Thank you, Dame Saturday. Listen, that's another movie.
And they pulled us back in.
They keep pulling me back in. But listen, Swamp Dweller, have you ever seen that movie, the Dunwich Horror?
I have read the book, but I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, it's good. It has that, they know how to set the stage with, the suspense and, just the whole movie. You're going to love it, man. You need to check it out. I've been thinking about that movie for the past 72 hours, trying to remember the name because I wanted to say it. And thank you to Dame Saturday. You hooked me up. You hooked me up. Yes, the Dunwich Horror is
1970.
very good. Yeah.
I swear, this chat puts a spell
Definitely
on
gonna have to
me.
watch this tonight.
Oh, I would. As a matter of fact, I might watch it myself again tonight. That movie's good. It has
Let's
a lot
hear
of
it for
symbolism.
Insomnia, guys.
Round of applause to that.
Oh no, absolutely no. But okay.
But let him finish what he was saying. I'm
Yes.
sorry I cut you off,
Oh
Swamp
yes.
Brother.
Final
But
thoughts.
yes.
Crap.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess,
It's okay.
definitely subscribe to Dezombified. They're very close to that 400 mark. And Slumber Reads, I see you in the chat. You better shout them out too, or I'll come to your DMs and
Okay.
send you some lewd photos. But anyways,
No, send him
it
a
was a
photo.
lot of fun, and
Send him a photo of Dingo. Dingo's still my baby.
yes.
Yeah, send him a photo of that. Like some of our old timers, they'll know what we're talking about. Oh man, but thank you so
Honey,
much.
cue up that rap video.
Okay, I will.
So he can
All
hear
right.
it before he leaves.
I'm gonna cue it up
Before we
now,
shut down.
and then after that, I'll just put the end scene and say goodbye during the end scene. But hey, Swamp Dweller, say bye to everybody. Everybody say bye to Swamp Dweller, and thank you for being here, buddy. Like we really appreciate it, and thank you all for showing up here in the live. And I'm going to cue the music video. Hope I don't cue the wrong one, but if I do, I'll just go to the next one. Good night, y'all.
Swamp Dweller, basically, this hell video, rap video, is basically an account of what people claims they saw in hell, and I just took that and made it into a rap of the things they experienced.
Okay.
Awesome.
So play that video, honey.
Alrighty, here, let me just mute the mics.
Okay.
God, are my hands clean? Is my heart pure?
Hell's for the wicked, the scorn, not the unborn. Righteous, sofa like this. Come on and chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. Hell's for the wicked, scorn, not the unborn. Righteous, sofa like this. Demonic chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. Heard of a place, spirits can't rest. Hard to breathe, brimstone in the chest. Spots damn hot, bodies rot. Regenerate non-stop on the clock. Lost chains on your ankles and your wrists. The water for your lips, dark figures in the mist. Demons so tall and small than midgets. Dig it, knives, skillets, skrillet. Nightmares, no dreaming, felons, heathens, yelling, screaming, melting, bleeding. Those demon troubles get beat, scuffles can't talk about, so I even struggle. Satanic pottery, demonic property, great God's pottery, ride debauchery is all gotta be, but heaven's mockery.
Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me?
Hell's for the wicked, the scorn, not the unborn. Righteous, sofa like this. Demonic chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned. Hell's for the wicked, scorn, not the unborn. Righteous, sofa like this. Demonic chef for horns, that was barbecue. You can't fight this, you've been warned.
Hey, guys.
We're
Thank
back.
Thank you for being there and being
Hope
here
you
with
enjoyed
us.
the song.
3 hours and 24 minutes and almost 30 seconds later, this is our outro scene. We thank you for being here, and we definitely thank Swamp Dweller for being here. You guys have a great night. We
Indeed,
love you,
indeed.
and it's because
Oh.
of you that we do what we do.
But you know what? We're going to be back for Father's Day. For anyone here who's a dad, and for everyone here, you all have a dad. So we're going to be on a little bit on Sunday for Father's Day, right? So you can come back and check us out then. And don't forget to check us out tomorrow over on Dark Waters channel. We're going to be interviewed on that channel, okay? At, what time was it? 9 Eastern.
I believe so. Well, anyway, you guys, good night. And as always, Dezomba friends,
Watch your six.